Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You may notice, hey, they're going live 15 to 20 minutes early. We made a last-minute decision, an executive decision to go live at the start time of the Islanders against the Philadelphia Flyers game.
Little watch along.
Watch along, talking about the landscape of the playoff picture, and everything of that nature. Oh, ladies and gents, it's going to come down to the last game of the season is what it looks like. But for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. This is a twice-a-week All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to like on Facebook, to follow on Twitter, and to subscribe on YouTube. Hey, it keeps you updated anytime we go live. And sometimes we have emergency podcasts. So it keeps you live and up to date with all New York Islanders action. We also have a secondary podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Now, that show, we go live every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an all-sports podcast where we talk anything and everything sports. We talk NHL, we talk NFL, NBA, MLB, college athletics, we talk world football, we talk soccer, we talk anything and everything sports on that channel. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It can be found in the link in the description below, or it can be found as a featured page on our YouTube channel. So you could say Islanders Never Say Die podcast, and if you scroll down to the bottom of the channel, it says check out our other podcasts, and that's where you can find TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's a show where myself, Grumpy, and the magnificent Son X talk anything and everything sports.
That's right. And just watching this game live, I don't like how the Islanders are playing so far today.
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about it's early, right? We're 5 minutes in. Let's talk a little bit about what's happened since the last time, Grumpy, we were on, right? Let's talk a little bit about that. So since the last time we were on, we went live last on Wednesday. The Islanders beat the Tampa Bay Lightning on Thursday. As we mentioned, I thought was going to happen. Grumpy didn't because, Grump, I guess, did not take into account the fact that Tampa Bay Lightning were playing the New York Rangers the night before. So
I still thought that the Islanders were gonna lose that game, regardless.
Yeah, there was my God, shootout attempt that they didn't even get a shot off on for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Good,
man, that's sad. Hey, I'm not complaining. But that was Bolduc and Mayfield to just get walked right in between. The Flyers they're putting pressure on early, but they are not making the most of their chances and opportunities. And that's how you lose a game. When you come out well, you play a good first period, and you don't come away with, any points, no advantage. That's how you lose a game. So good for the Islanders. But, let's get back to talking a little bit about what happened since our last podcast, Grump, right? New York Islanders beat Tampa 6-1. Tampa looked gassed. We dominated Tampa in every single facet of the game.
Yeah. They played Brian Elliott. He wasn't the reason why they lost. The Islanders came out with more jump and more intensity, realized it was a game they had to win, and they took care of business. Unfortunately, so did Florida. So did Pittsburgh, right? We said, who's going to play the best over these last 4 games? It's razor thin margin of error, right? So Pittsburgh has already won today. Steamroll.
Well, yeah, let's not jump the gun quite yet on what's happened today. I want to talk about what happened a little bit since last show, Grump, because they're right. Pittsburgh did win today, but let's not just go ahead and blow through everything that's happened until this point.
Okay.
I wanted to talk a little bit about
we kicked Tampa's ass. We kicked Tampa's ass, dominated them. A game we had to win. We came out and performed. They were a little bit flat. Maybe combination. They know they're playing Toronto. They know they're locked in as the 3 seed in the Atlantic Division. So, that's kind of where we're looking at. That was the toughest game left on our schedule. We should go 4-0. We absolutely should go 4-0. And if that happens, we make the playoffs.
Tampa played, they played the night before. They had 70 total penalty minutes against the Rangers. A few Tampa forwards went down injured against the Islanders. And the Islanders, you're right. They came out and they dominated every single facet of the game,
that's not why the Islanders won the other night. The Islanders outplayed Tampa. I don't care what you say, the Islanders outplayed Tampa.
I just said they dominated Tampa.
Okay, but you're
You
trying to
not
make an
listening?
excuse. You're trying to make an excuse saying, well, they had penalty minutes. Too bad. Tough shit. Yes, the 3 days rest absolutely benefit us. Tampa came out and laid an egg. I don't think it was what happened the night before. I think it was the fact that they came in and were just, they know that they're the 3rd seed. They're playing Toronto. Toronto's going to have home ice advantage.
Why did they play the Rangers so tough? And with
they lost 6-3. They lost 6-3. I don't know how tough that is.
Did you watch that Rangers versus Tampa game? There was a lot of vitriol, and that was okay. The level of compete was different from when they played the Rangers than they played us. That's not the reason that we won the game. We dominated Tampa. Tampa was a little tired. We took care of business against a team playing in the second half of the back and back. We had to do that. We did that. Tampa got a few injuries along the way too. We dominated the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think I could be any more obvious. We dominated them. I'm not saying like, hey, if we're coming, both teams have 4 days of rest, we're dominating them every which way. I'm just saying we took care of business and played the way we had to that game. That's a good thing. But just as you had mentioned, every team around us, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they took care of business. They beat, who is it they beat? They beat a pretty decent squad, I believe, last Thursday. Minnesota. That's right. You said there was no way Pittsburgh was going to beat Minnesota.
Okay. I'm just going based on what I had seen. Okay. They came out and you know what they said? Okay, we need to pick our game up. Pittsburgh has to win all 4 games to have any shot of making the playoffs. And they have to hope that Florida or the Islanders stumble and lose 1 because they're the odd man out right now, a point behind.
Well, technically not, but because they're not. They have a win today. They're not the odd man out by point. I'm just talking about, again, last Thursday, you thought there was no way Minnesota was going to lose to Pittsburgh.
I didn't think there was any way the Islanders were going to beat Tampa Bay either.
Yeah, I said both of those things were going to happen. My point is we're trying to go ahead and paint the picture. Because Pittsburgh came out, you're right. They played that team in Minnesota. Shockingly, the Penguins didn't concede 5 or 6 goals. That was a shock to me with how poor their goalie play has been this season. They beat a Minnesota team who is, in a really, they're in a dogfight, for positioning in the Western Conference, but they beat that Minnesota Wild team. And the Florida Panthers went ahead and won as well. The Florida Panthers had a little bit of an easier schedule early. And, they took care of business. Their schedule is going to get more difficult. They cleaned up against the Ottawa Senators. They beat them 7-2 against the Ottawa Senators. And, today, as you mentioned, right, Pittsburgh came out and they killed the Detroit Red Wings, beat them 5-1. Pittsburgh's remaining schedule is extremely easy. The Florida Panthers right now, I thought, they must have reversed the goal. Florida went up 1-0, but I think they overturned the goal that Florida had scored. So now it's a 0-0 game between Washington and Florida. So, right, that Florida team, we're going to be watching every other team at this point because that's what happens when there's 1 point that determines spot number 7 from spot number 9.
And here's a possible advantage for the Islanders. Carolina lost to Buffalo today in regulation.
Yep.
So they're 1 point up on the Devils. And no get it depends on what the Devils playing Boston tonight. So going in today, they had a game in hand on the Devils. If the Devils beat Boston, it's a 1 point lead for Carolina with 3 games to go for both teams.
1 point lead then for the Devils with an extra game in hand for Carolina.
No, you're incorrect.
Okay. Let's pull that up. Don't worry. I'll pull up the standings for you, Rumpy, because maybe it helps with the visual.
But they'll have the game. Then they'll have the game in hand again.
Yeah, the Carolina Hurricanes will be 1 point behind with a game in hand.
Okay.
If the Devils win tonight, right? Devils are playing the Boston Bruins. That's a tough game for the Devils. Do the Devils come out and win? Do they make a statement win this game, right? All it is for the Boston Bruins is they've already locked in the number 1 seed. They're going for the record, perhaps, right?
Yes.
For the most points ever recorded in the NHL season. Is that something that's important to them? Or are they determining, hey, we're still going to play tough hockey, but we're more preoccupied with making sure our players are ready to go this playoff season?
They've been resting guys selectively for the last week. 3 guys every single game have been rested. So they're winning as well as resting guys.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. That's a team you don't want to play.
They're fantastic. So finishing 8th is not something the Islanders want to do by any stretch of the imagination. But that was a huge, huge win for, a huge loss for the Carolina Hurricanes. They were in the driver's seat. They lost a game. Was it against Ottawa, you said, Grumpy?
Yep.
Against Ottawa in regulation. That's a game that Carolina could ill afford to lose.
Oh, no. Today was against Buffalo. Today was against Buffalo, their loss.
Okay, against Buffalo. Thank you. So they lost against Buffalo in regulation. That's a game that the Carolina Hurricanes could ill afford to lose. If the Devils lose tonight, I think that pretty much locks up the rest of things. I think that the Carolina Hurricanes are in the driver's seat. They get the 1 seed, and
are they going to need
2 seed for the conference, number 1 for the division?
Right. For me, are they going to need points going into that last game that they play the Florida Panthers? That's the big. That was my whole. That's why I ventured in there, because I thought it was good news that Carolina lost today. That means that last game of the season might mean something to them. They have to come out and they have to play. They have to come out and they have to play everyone to beat Florida. Florida's got Toronto after today against Washington, Toronto and Carolina. By far the toughest of the 3 teams fighting for the last 2 playoff spots. Pittsburgh has the easiest, right?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let's talk a little bit about. You just want to blast through everything.
I'm just trying to give everyone where we are right now, laying the groundwork for what we have to do in the next couple of games.
Go ahead, Grump. You take it.
Penguins have Chicago and Montreal, I believe, is their last 2 teams. Or Columbus, I'm sorry. Chicago and Columbus. Those are 2 absolute winnable games. I think Pittsburgh will win out. I believe they will win out. So
it's almost like somebody mentioned out on the show last week
so,
on Wednesday.
So
I told Pittsburgh was going to win out.
So which one of the Islanders and Florida is going to avoid stumbling? One loss from either one of those 2 teams, they're out of the playoffs. That's the way I look at it. I don't even think you can afford an overtime loss. It's going to be tough. Take care of business, win your games, you make the playoffs. Panthers have the toughest schedule by far. We're second, Washington and Montreal. We should win both games. Don't stumble against the Flyers tonight.
We haven't played well the first period at all. Now, here's the thing. The Florida Panthers do have the toughest schedule I was going to talk about when you were mentioning their schedule, right? Toronto, and then they've got the Carolina Hurricanes. Well, Toronto is locked in at the 2 seed in their division. They're playing Montreal. They don't want to go ahead. That's a team that I've always worried with the position they're in. Are they going to start resting individuals, or are they going to be in a spot to where they're still going to be playing as hard as they can, making sure they hit in stride come playoff time? What do the Toronto Maple Leafs value? They're beating right now the Montreal Canadiens 2-0. They've already locked in at the 2 spot of their division. And win or loss doesn't do anything for their seeding.
Are they fully cemented in as the number 2 seed there, or is there still a couple of points that could happen?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I said
Montreal sucks, though. So
here's the thing. Yep, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they've got 3 games left. They're up 2-0. Even if they were to lose tonight, the Lightning cannot catch them.
Okay. And Lightning are losing tonight to Ottawa.
Yeah, the Lightning, I don't think, are preoccupied. They don't care at all about winning these last few games. They want to rest their players. They had a few injuries to the forward group against us. They had 2 or 3 injuries to their forward group? They started with 11 forwards and I think ended with 9?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe it was 2. They had an injury the night before, another 2 injuries against the Islanders, That's about the worst case. And you look at why teams start to rest guys at this point of the season to make sure they're ready to go. For the exact cautionary tale of the Tampa Bay Lightning recently, to where they get a few injuries to players that are valuable forwards because, hey, they're playing hard in a game that is, for the most part, meaningless. But yeah, so Toronto is locked in at the 2 spot. Do we see Toronto lay an egg or go ahead and put out a B squad almost, or a less capable squad when they play the Florida Panthers? That's a question.
The Carolina game is going to be the one. It's going to be the Carolina game. Does Carolina have something to play for the last game of the year, or do they not?
I think it's also worth mentioning. I've got them on the board, which is something I want to talk about. We talk about the teams that get hot. Florida Panthers are on a 5-game winning streak.
They're hot. They're not beating anyone come playoff time, though.
Grump, I'm not concerned about come the playoffs. I'm concerned about who makes and who does not make.
Okay. Like I said, it's going to come down to the last game. Does Carolina have something to play for or not? That's what it comes down to. If Carolina's already locked up, they're going to probably rest guys. It's going to be an easier game for the Florida Panthers.
Do you think it matters at all? Like I just had mentioned, the Florida Panthers are on a 5-game winning streak.
Does that
hold any cadence to that, Grumpy? Do you maybe think that Florida is a hot team right now? That's why I was introducing they're on a 5-game winning streak to you.
I think Carolina is a better team overall than Florida. And if they need those 2 points to lock up the second seed, I think they're going to come out and play a lot harder with, 80% chance of winning. And the Islanders have just gone up 1-0. Scott Mayfield with the goal.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're continuing to. I know that
we're doing a watch along. Don't forget, we're doing a watch along.
Hey, Grumpy, are you going to talk at all about what the playoff landscape looks like? Or
I just did. I just laid the whole thing out for you.
Oh, thank you, Grumpy. Thanks. I needed that. All I'm saying is this: Florida Panthers 5-game winning streak. That's something we talk about. Hot teams. That looks to be a hot team, in my opinion. Do they beat I know they've got tough games coming up. That's a really hot team right now. I'm worried about hot teams, as you had mentioned. Florida looks like a hot team. 5 wins. That's why I'm bringing that up. 5 wins in a row.
Who would you rather play as opponents? Would you rather play Toronto and Carolina, or Washington and Montreal? Who would you rather play?
If we're talking about just in an isolated situation, sure, I'd rather play the easier teams. I'd rather play Montreal on the other. But here's the thing. Those other 2 teams are already going to be probably locked in their spots by the time they play the Florida Panthers.
We don't know. That was my whole point. If Carolina is only 1 point up, they're 1 point up with 3 games to go. 1 point up on the Devils.
Probably going to be predetermined before that game. Do you think with the historic year the Boston Bruins are having that they're going to stumble to the Devils?
They could. Tonight's a big game for the Devils. What I'm saying is, if the last game of the year for Carolina is the difference between them getting the number 1 in the Metro and number 2, they're going to come out and they're going to give everything they have. They're going to load their lineup because they'd much rather play the number 7 seed as opposed to the Rangers.
Well, let me ask you this, because Carolina's been playing like shit lately. They beat the living hell out of us, but they've been playing like shit. They lost 3-0 to the Predators, got shut out by them. Do you think they weren't really caring at that point about that game? And then they lost today to the Buffalo Sabres.
They had a big lead.
Point is this.
They had a 3-point lead with a game in hand, and they've lost their last 2 games. If it comes down to the last game, you think they're just going to mail it in because they're playing the Florida Panthers? No, they're not.
Don't think here. Okay, they're with a losing record in their last 10 games. They're not playing great hockey. They still manhandled us, but they're not playing at the level of hockey that they've played all season. Would you disagree with me?
Yeah, no, I don't think they're playing well.
Okay. So I don't think it's as simple as they're going to try hard and that's going to cause them to automatically win. You think so black and white. I don't think the same way as you. That's all. That's all I'm presenting this.
I just think because Florida's won 5 games in a row,
I think Florida's hot.
They're just going to steamroll the competition?
No, I think Florida's hot. I think when you play a hot team that's playing good hockey, I don't think it's as black and white.
Okay. I'm just going to say it again. If you're Florida, you want Carolina to have that first place thing locked in going into the last game. If not, it's a very losable game for Florida. Very losable.
Sure, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying here, just to add further to the points you've made, every single game is a must-win at this point for the Islanders to make the postseason.
For every team,
because I'm talking specifically for the Islanders.
Okay,
I don't force Pittsburgh's winning out. They've got a really sharp and soft schedule. I told you this when they played. Against the.
They're behind. They're behind. If Florida wins out and the Islanders win out, it doesn't matter what Pittsburgh does. You cannot lose another point.
Did you just listen to what I said?
I've already heard what you're saying. I don't care what Pittsburgh does. Doesn't matter what Pittsburgh does.
I didn't think you were listening to what I'm saying. That's fine. You're just not listening.
But Pittsburgh's on the outside looking in. They're not tied with anyone. I don't care if they win out. If Florida wins out, we win out. Bye-bye Pittsburgh. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, if you were listening to what I was saying, I was very literally confirming the point you were making that every single game is a must-win for the Islanders because Pittsburgh is not losing any of their games. That's what I said. And you said, nope, and then corrected me to proceed to tell me the same exact thing. I just agree. That's all I'm saying, Grumpy.
So you don't think the
Pittsburgh
Islanders
is going to win? Pittsburgh is going to win every single game. The last 2 games of the season they've got against Chicago and against Columbus Blue Jackets, you can earmark that as a victory for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins are winning their next 2 games, right? Florida has a tough schedule. What are the lineups out there going to be against them? Florida's a hot team. My point being is I'm confirming your point, Grump. The New York Islanders have to win every single game in order to make the postseason. That's all it is, Grumpy.
And they should be favorites to win every game the rest of the way. They're better than Washington, and they're better than Montreal, and they're better than Flyers, and they're beating the Flyers now.
I don't think they've been playing that great against the Flyers.
Okay, they're winning. They're winning. You know, at the end of the day, if you have more goals on your side than the other team, that's a victory. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is the Islanders should be favorites in every single game they play with the rest of the year, just as Pittsburgh. Florida, not so much.
I just asked you, do you think that we're outplaying the Flyers? I don't. I know it's a 1-0 score right now.
I thought it was 50-50. I thought we gave up chances early. I think we gave us some chances. Sorokin made a couple of big saves. But at the end of the day, the Flyers suck. Okay? And they find ways to lose. That's what happens when you're a bad team. You find ways to lose.
They beat us this way earlier this year, too. The second time we played the Flyers, I thought was a back-and-forth game. I thought maybe the edge went a little bit to the Flyers. I don't think they had particularly dangerous chances, but they found a way to win. Today, obviously, is a must-win for us.
Yeah, so I guess you admit that for certain, this game is way more important to the Islanders than it is to the Flyers.
Yes.
Okay.
Every game for the Islanders remaining on their schedule is much more important to them than it is to their counterpart. And it's the same thing probably with the Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's why I think all of those teams are you have no margin for error, is because all of these teams are going to be playing for their playoff life.
I said that in the first 2 minutes of the show, and you wanted me to drag it out over 20. I didn't need to. It's really simple. There's only a couple of games left. You win, you're in. You lose, you're out. That you want to. I can break it down for you this in 2 seconds. If you win, you're in. If you lose, you're out. Period. End of story. If the Islanders win out, if the Islanders win their last 3 games, they're in the playoffs. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. Everything else is smoke and mirrors. Doesn't matter. If Florida wins out, they're in. Pittsburgh is the only team that has ground to make up, and they have to hope that somebody stumbles. The only team, in my opinion, who's really capable of stumbling right now is Florida. That's it. Regardless of how well they're playing, they have a much tougher schedule than either the Islanders or Pittsburgh Penguins.
Depends on who's playing against them. And here's the thing, Grumpy. As I've mentioned before, I guess you feel extremely confident. I feel that this is a time period to where anything can happen. Anything can happen during this time period. And guess what, Grump? Crazy shit happens in this sport when pressure gets applied. Who excels under the pressure and who doesn't?
The Islanders do. The Islanders do. They've been a good pressure team. Not talented enough, but they've been a good pressure team. Look at how they've played the last 25 games of the season. Better than every other team that's chased. Better than Florida. Better than Pittsburgh. Better than all the other suck squads. It's like been a playoff chase for them for the last 25 games.
And if you look at those last 25 games, the Islanders had a chance to win against 2 miserable teams, the Ottawa Senators and the Columbus Blue Jackets, both of which they lost in back-to-back performances to. So, you talk about these games like as if, it's just granted that's a victory. I don't know, Grump. I don't know. And it's not as simple as that.
Whatever. I don't know what you're trying to say, because Pittsburgh got shit canned, gave up 7 goals. They gave up 3 straight hat tricks in 3 straight games at the end of March. Okay. So I don't even care. They lost to Detroit. They lost to Ottawa. They lost to Buffalo. Okay. Now they're winning games because they're guaranteed because they're playing an easy stretch of schedule. Well, guess what? So are we. We're playing the dregs of the league right now. Philadelphia, Montreal, with Washington thrown in, right? The only game that could potentially should be close is maybe Washington.
Oh, yeah, the team that's 2-0-1 against us. Maybe that will be close. The team that's beaten us twice and lost in overtime. Maybe that one will be close. Such a guaranteed victory. That's my
who would you rather play?
Hold
Washington or Toronto or Carolina?
The team we're 1-1 against Toronto this year.
What are we against Carolina?
1-3. 1-3 or 1-2, whatever it is.
Well, okay, so that's Florida's schedule.
My God, you dismissing everything just because you want to stare at the damn screen when I'm trying to have a conversation.
No, dude.
Sometimes, Grumpy. Let me make a point.
Your negativity is getting freaking ridiculous.
Let me make a point. Sometimes there's new listeners to the show, and you have to explain the situation we're in.
Know your role. Please know your role.
Sounds great.
Please know your role.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we've explained this. This has been explained. Who's got the easiest schedule? Pittsburgh. Who's got second? The Islanders. Who's got the toughest? By far, Florida. Toronto hasn't mailed it in. Maybe they sit somebody. Carolina, if they need to win the Metro Division, and that last game is the difference between playing the Rangers or us or Florida or Pittsburgh, you think they're going to rest guys the last game? Not me. They're playing for the higher seeding, and that's an eminently losable game for Florida. That's it in a nutshell.
We've already discussed this, didn't we?
I know. I still don't know why we're still talking about it.
No, because you want to play the role of host. That's fine. You could do that.
No, dude, you're the host. You're supposed to be the host.
When you can't pay attention, don't start, please. My God. Let's start getting some comments. Hey, what's up, Brick Roma? Says, I'm first. Being first gets me a Cadillac. Being second gets you a set of steak knives. And being third means you're fired.
Very similar to the playoff picture, honestly. You get the Cadillac, you get Carolina or the Devils. You get the steak knives, you get Boston. And third, you're going home.
Adam B saying, I see the Caps are losing. I think they overturned that goal, so it's a 0-0 tie. But good to see you, Adam. Hopefully you're doing well, too. JS says, we lose this game, we don't make the playoffs. That's what I think. I agree, Ja. Absolutely. Nick D said, Grumpy, TJ, how are you doing tonight? No show Bo finally showed up against the T-Bags. I saw that redirection goal he had to the wide open net. That
was the last goal of the game, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I'm not going there.
Yeah, it was.
You score a goal. You score a goal to make it 6-1. Come on, that means nothing.
And you probably didn't get a chance to watch it, but it was one where the goalie was looking at one area where the pass was still coming from, and it was just a redirected wide open net. So he puts it in the net. It's all the same, but again, it's not. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have the same exact value as a goal when the goalie's prepared. Adam B said, but our guys take forever to score. They're up 1-0. I'll tell you that. That is, it's important. No goal for Florida. Islanders JJ said, love to hear Grump, but be the most negative man on the planet. Well, Grumpy's not. Grumpy's extremely positive.
Here's the thing. When you want to play that role, I can't do what I want to do.
Well, no, Grump, when I'm asking
you're supposed to be the host, please.
When I'm asking you and you're not paying attention, I'm asking you
attention. I don't need to say something 400 times. I can sum the thing up in 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Are you going to let me be the host and ask the question?
That's what I want you to be.
Okay, well, then why don't you sit and let me go ahead and respond to this here, huh? Okay. So, all I was saying was let's go ahead and set the picture of what happened since our last podcast. You wanted to do that in 2 minutes and just that's it. You got to set it for people who are listening.
All three teams won. There's your summation. All three teams won. Now it's down to best of three.
Okay.
There's your summation. Nothing else needs to be done.
Okay. Good to hear. That's what you think. Adam B said it helped that they may have been tired, Tampa, that is. No, Grumpy just said we just dominated him. Had nothing to do with them being tired, Adam, as Grumpy told us too. We didn't need to talk about that. Trouba got what was coming to him. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Trouba doesn't. A Trouba is going to be an albatross around that Rangers neck for a long time. And Angelo M said, good evening, gentlemen. So far, nothing special. I know, even though we've got a 1-0 lead in the first period, Yeah, I think it's been a kind of a blah period. I mean, we scored. It was a redirection goal from Anders Lee in front of the net. It was Mayfield was throwing the puck on, redirected it in. It just went right, I think, over the shoulder or right underneath the arm of Carter Hart or whoever the hell that is in net for them. And hey, the Islanders have taken the early 1-0 lead.
End of 1-0. So this is a typical Islander game. We have the lead. I expect us to beat Philadelphia. If Philadelphia to win, I think they had to score first. They didn't. I think we win.
Okay.
And and here's the thing, we're better than Philadelphia.
Buffalo is a PETA as well. I'm not sure what that is, or maybe that's an abbreviation. There it is. Christopher C said, TJ, unlike you, rather we face Boston, Carolina, or the Devils. I accept the challenges. I'm not afraid of them. Like you and Grumpy, every Islander fan is. Yeah, I would. If I had to pick the team I'd play, I'd rather play against, I guess, the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't want to play Boston, and teams are hot around us. So, if Florida wins every single game, every single team wins every single game the rest of the remainder of the season, Islanders finish in 8th, and we're playing Boston in the first round. That's a tough matchup.
I think that's worst case scenario.
Well, worst case scenario is we don't make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying if we win.
Making the playoffs, I mean, it's not the best case scenario playing Boston, but best case scenario is somehow the Devils leapfrog over Carolina, and we get 7th, and we play the Devils in the first round. We've talked about it. Andy's talked about it. The scam playoff run that would result in. Mark A said Ovi is not playing tonight. Okay. I wonder if Washington sits players against us too then. Is Ovechkin banged up?
No idea.
Okay, I'll look that up.
I don't know. Maybe they're resting him to play the Islanders to knock him out. Maybe Peter Laviolette figures it's more important to play him against the Islanders than to play him against Florida. Who knows? I'm going to say he probably hates us more than he hates Florida. I mean, if somebody fired you, wouldn't you want to beat them every time you played them?
Yeah, and this game, the Flyers, right? Tortorella, I'd imagine not a big Islander fan, being ace coach for the Rangers, coaching for the Flyers, coaching in that Metro division for plenty of teams. And, same thing with Laviolette. So, maybe there's a little bit extra. And I imagine that Toronto probably wants to do anything they can probably to knock out the Florida Panthers. So maybe they come out and they field the full squad. Who knows? It's going to be an interesting last few games. That's for certain. Well,
he never coached for the Islanders, so I don't think it matters. Like I said, I think if you were a coach of somewhere and you got fired by that team, I think you have it's just like if somebody trades you or cuts you. Whenever you play that team next time, you really want to beat them to show that, you made a mistake letting me go. And that's what I think maybe about Laviolette. Who knows? I'm not saying that's why he's resting Ovi tonight.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Butch loves Ovi, by the way. Butch absolutely loves Ovechkin, though. Loves him.
Rob says, good evening, gentlemen. What's up, Rob? Joseph C. said, the Lightning played the Rangers tough on Wednesday. Vasilevsky just had an awful game. 3 Sharman soft goals. Yeah, I thought they played a really tough game on Wednesday. Grumpy didn't, but that's fine. I thought that they played a really tough game, a lot of fights, and that kind of resulted in a little bit of a lackluster effort on their side in the second half of the back and back. But we dominated them.
But their last 2 games have been lackluster also. And they've got beat the last couple of games now, right?
Once they lost to the Rangers and then proceeded to lose. I think once they lost to the Rangers, once they lost to the Rangers and then the Islanders, they've been mathematically cemented in the 3rd spot in that division.
Okay.
So, they're.
But that's the thing, Vasilevsky this year, he'll have games where he's really weak in goal, where he'll give up a bunch of softies. When he's on, he's fully on. When he's off, he's off.
Yo, you guys are early, says Ponyboy. Yes, we are. And Josh, finally a healthy Scratch Bailey. Beginning the season, hearing how his jersey number was going to get retired, laughing my ass off. There it is. Christopher C. said, Boston has already got everything. They should just rest their players.
They are. They're resting 3 guys a game. Every game.
Are they going to rest guys tonight, you think?
Every single game. They've rested guys, 3 starters, every single game for the last week. They want everyone help. They're so loaded, honestly. They can rest whoever they want. Foligno's going to be back. Hall's going to be back. They're not even playing yet. hold them for the playoffs.
We've got
Bergeron has missed multiple games. I think Marchand's the one guy who hasn't been sat out yet, but Krejci's been out. They've absolutely been resting guys. Charlie Coyle, they've been resting. I think the record means a lot to them, but not as important as winning the Stanley Cup.
Having a well-rested team, I think, that's got to take priority number one. I don't disagree. And then Potable Curtis said, that Kachuk goal got called back. Thank God. And of course, half of the Washington Capitals are injured. Okay.
They've been hurt all year.
Potable Curtis said, I don't love how Pittsburgh won their last 2 games and Florida obliterated the Senators.
If we win
a 5-game winning streak.
If we win our games, it doesn't matter. All we have to do is win our 3 remaining games. We are in the playoffs. It's just that plain and simple. The Islanders take care of business. They win their 3 remaining games. They are in the playoffs. No other scenario needs to even be looked at.
We're a 500 team. Just to say, hey, we're going to win the last 3 with no problem. I think that's maybe taken a little bit for granted. That's
so is Florida, and so is Pittsburgh.
Correct.
All 500 teams.
Correct. Correct.
You think they're both going undefeated?
Pittsburgh plays 2. Chicago and the Blue Jackets are bottom 5, 5 worst teams in the NHL.
They've lost to Chicago this year already, Pittsburgh.
Sure.
Okay. So, just using that type of rationale.
We talk about clutch. Again, as I mentioned, I told you this before Minnesota. The Pittsburgh Penguins are not losing a game the remainder of the season. Told you that.
Neither are
they didn't lose against Ottawa. They didn't lose against the Red Wings either. You thought they were losing both. You thought they were losing every single game the rest of you. You're just wrong. It's fine. I'm just saying that's a team that won't lose. We've got to win every game. And
what makes you think the Islanders are going to lose?
I'm hoping the Florida Panthers lose so we get the 7th seed.
What makes you think the Islanders are going to lose?
I fear Washington. I've said that. I've said that before. We do not have a good record historically against Washington. You look at the last few years, it's not a great record. It hasn't been a great record this year against Washington. I do not like the Washington Capitals, and I fear that's a team we can lose to. I'm not worried about the Flyers, and I'm not worried about the Montreal Canadiens. I'm worried about Washington.
Okay. Here's the way I look at it. They're banged up. They've checked out. They're getting beat every night. I don't think they're the same team they were when we played them last. Certainly not the same team when we beat them.
Yeah, we beat them in shootout.
Yeah, but not early in the season when they beat us. They're not that team anymore.
What did Washington do when they played us? We resulted in the amount of 7 shots on net in the first period because they said, we're just going to play your same exact style. It's going to be boring. It's going to be
And we won.
Yeah, we won the shootout. That's correct. Our first shootout win of the season. That's
and we
correct.
won. Didn't matter. We won.
Yeah.
And we have the better goaltender. Again, we have the goaltender. That's the difference.
Yeah, Washington's got a 2-0-1 record against us this year. I'm just saying that's a team that they play us well.
Okay, they did earlier in the year. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they've lost 5 in a row. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. So, yeah, they're a team. I tell you what, we're winning the last 3 games, and it doesn't matter. It's can Florida win their last 2? I think there's a greater chance of Florida losing one of their last 2 than us. That's Toronto or Carolina, Washington or Montreal. I don't know. You tell me. I think Florida has a much tougher road to hoe than us.
They do. I think they're also hot, as I mentioned. Lou R. Grumpy, I'll let you read that.
It's playoff hockey right now. In the last game, Casper had the Tampa Bay player with his head down. He didn't nail him. He just sidestepped, and he's soft like a puppy shit. He is. That's what he is. He's soft. He's Josh Bailey 2.0. That's what he is.
Yeah. Got a comment here from Freedom Fund Adventure says, Happy Easter, everybody. I live 2 hours from Tampa. I hate that they think them blacking out games will force me to drive back and forth to Tampa. Well, you didn't know. I guess you missed a game where we dominated recently, but that was Tampa. It was just a fun game to watch for the Islanders. When you dominate every facet of the game, doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It's just fun to watch. Rob said, I said no playoffs a month ago. Hey, we still have a chance. Still have a chance. Rob, put up a Curtis, Grumpy.
Boys, you give Phil tons of shit for being flip-floppity, but you all both have changed your tune a handful of times this year.
Like once or twice.
Once. I didn't think we were making playoffs till 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm like, we're making playoffs because I saw how shitty all the other teams played. Just that plain simple. Once.
To start the year, I thought we were finishing probably 7th or 8th. Then I thought we weren't going to make the playoffs. And then I've come back to yes, we are going to make the postseason.
I thought we were going to be battling for the 8th spot.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly where we are.
Yep.
But hey, along the way, you look at it and you say, oof, I'm glad that we've rebounded the way we have. That's for certain. It was a high stick goal. I believe it was ruled by Matthew Tkachuk. Tim J said Boston doesn't care. They've played a couple of games to beat the record. If I was Boston, I'd like to see the Rangers and Hurricanes in round 1, or to see them on the way out. They'll be on the way out.
Yeah. Okay. They're not looking at that. I'm telling you right now. They're just doing their thing. They're beating everyone. They just want to be sharp for the playoffs. That's it. They're going to give their older guys sporadic rest. Maybe you'll see Bergeron play another game for the end of the season. I don't even know if he's playing today. I don't even know if he's on the ice today. But guys have been getting rested for the last week and a half now. They've been absolutely sitting a couple of guys a game, 2-3 guys a game. That's what happens when you have that big a lead. I think they do want that record, though.
Hold on a second. Boston's up 2-0. Okay, Boston 4 minutes in is up 2-0 on the Devils. Okay, Devils are going to get shit canned tonight.
There you go.
So it's,
and like I said,
exactly the worry I had that I was presenting. You were sloughing off.
No,
the Florida Panthers are going to play a Toronto team that's locked in at second, and a Carolina team that's going to be locked in the last game of the season against the hot Florida team is exactly what I was worried about. You sloughed off. That's exactly what can happen.
Is Carolina locked in?
They're going to go back to now a 1 point advantage over the Devils with a game in hand, with 2 games left. I feel confident that with 2 games remaining, the Carolina's remaining schedule is pretty weak. Okay, Carolina's been losing a lot of games recently. They have not been playing great hockey,
except when they play.
Yes, that's what I said. They handled us, but Carolina plays the Ottawa Senators and the Red Wings as their next 2 games.
Well, but they should
play Florida.
Yeah, well, they should. But here's the thing: they should win those 2. They win if New Jersey loses tonight, they win those 2. They're in as the first seed. If for some reason they stumble like they did today against Buffalo,
against the Predators,
right? If they continue to stumble, Jersey could overtake them, where the last game would mean something, and that's when I think you're going to see them play everyone. If it doesn't, then I think Florida, should have a much easier road to hoe there. That's all.
Yeah. Adam P says Pat Maroon was injured, and so was Tanner Janot.
Yep,
They're both injured.
Yeah.
Pony Burkhardt said here, I'd like somebody to construct a timeline of the changes that you guys take or you guys take / predictions from preseason and now. Well, preseason we thought we were slightly above average, 7 to 8. Then we said this team is no way in hell making the postseason. Now we're back to 7 and 8. Yep. So I should have just stuck with the preseason run and never changed. But they were playing some really bad hockey.
The way we played in January, in February, we were scuffling. We were absolutely scuffling.
Pony Burkhardt said it's easy to be Grumpster when you predict every prediction outcome at least once. Go back to the preseason episode. They're still there. We said 7th or 8th, slightly above average.
Here's the thing. When I make a correction or I say something, I absolutely say that I do. But if you go back to my original prognostication for this season, I said Islanders battling for the final playoff spots. That's what I said.
Pony Burkhardt said, boys, the Tkachuk brothers are crazy. Both spoiled little brats, if you ask me. They're damn good hockey players.
There you go. Bingo.
They're hockey players that play old school hockey. They're physical. They'll do anything they can to win. I would love to have Matthew or Brady Tkachuk on the New York Islanders. Love that.
Yep.
Mayfield, says Adam P.
He didn't get that goal.
But he's still nice job pulling the trigger on that shot. Nice redirection by Anders Lee. Mikey D said, if the Devils lose tonight and the Rangers win, which is the expectation based on matchups, it will be Carolina 109, Jersey Jersey Devils 108. And the Rangers 106. Very close. The Canes better win some games. They don't want to fall to the 2 versus 3 matchup.
Absolutely not. So if that last game, they have to win that last game, they're going to come out guns blazing that last game.
Adam B said, "Screw the Panthers. The Cats got lucky with their other goalie, not Bobrovsky." Baba Booey sucks. He probably meant Bobrovsky. I changed it to Lee. And Scott L. Grumpy, I'll let you read that.
With the Islanders playing playoff style hockey right now, will it hurt them actually come playoff time? No, I don't think so. I don't know how much playing every other night, how long you can do that, and how long Sorokin stays, at the top of his game. I almost feel like he's going to have a bunch of shutouts for us to win. I don't see us having the ability to go down a couple of goals against really good teams and have a shot to win.
To give an update for scores around the league, it looks like Washington has taken a 1-0 lead over the Florida Panthers. A goal by Dylan Strome, assisted by Tom Wilson. And let's go ahead and get our update. I believe the Devils have snagged one back. They're down 2-1 to the Boston Bruins. This is, I believe, the first time in NHL history there's 16 games in one day. So there is a lot of hockey to keep your eye on right now.
No games last night.
That's correct. It was a depressing night last night. No hockey games.
Yeah, I was looking forward to watching a couple of hockey games with some playoff implications. I didn't have one.
JP said Edmonton 2 points out with 2 to play. They've got the tiebreaker. Just saying. Good evening. He's always been saying, watch out for Edmonton, Grumpy.
They've won 7 in a row.
They're a hot team. That's for certain. Got here. Robert Morris said, I hope Crosby breaks his laughing my ass off. He hopes Crosby gets injured.
Well, I think he had his 500th goal and 1500th point today.
Hey, he's been fantastic. You know what I mean? I've always hated Crosby, but he's been a spectacular pro. And, when he retires, I won't hate him as much. But boy, did I hate that son of a bitch when he was playing. Adam P said, I'd rather see Swiss cheese Tristan Jarry over Slobovsky instead of Bobrovsky. I like that one. And Mr. Buster says here, if we make the playoffs, we can only go as far as Sorokin Gumby takes us. Yes.
True. 100% true.
I do believe we've got the ability to maybe steal a game if we're going to be playing against the Devils, maybe steal a series. I think it's going to be tough against the Hurricanes or the Bruins. So
the Hurricanes, their style is problematic for us. To our advantage, though, losing Pacioretty and Svechnikov has really hurt them offensively. Really has.
I agree.
mean, for all you think about it, for all the offensive zone time they had against us last week, it was 2-1. I mean, and they had all the chances. It was 2-1.
Yeah. Their team that's kind of sputtering a bit. That's for certain. Got a comment here. Adam P saying, no, the Flyers are annoyingly difficult. Yes, they are.
I hate the Flyers.
Scott L says, should they make the playoffs? Do they dress Bailey, considering he has scored key playoff goals?
He will play at least one playoff game.
We're not going to see Simon Holmstrom anymore, you don't think, huh?
I think he'll play at least. I'm just saying at least one playoff game. He will play at least one playoff game.
Okay.
Because, we talked about this Wednesday. I think just because of how he's performed in the playoffs previously.
Okay. Punter Curtis said, boys, Josh, the bisexual cuck Bailey looks good out there tonight.
Is he even playing?
I don't think he's playing. I think that's the joke. Dan P said the Flyers play us tough most of the time, Grumpy. They absolutely do. They absolutely do.
I hate them.
I hate the Panthers, says Adam P. Kadri's agent says, hello, gentlemen. I've heard you are acquainted with the infamous loser Shamarillo. I have a request on behalf of my client. Oh, Kadri's agent, we are listening. What type of request do you have? I'm interested. You've piqued our intrigue. JP says here, if the Islanders make the playoffs, Sorokin is going to have to sue for lack of support and emotional distress.
I wonder if they will let him have a support dog out there on the ice with him.
I'm not sure on the ice.
Keep him in the net. Keep him in the net.
Kadri's agent says here, we'd like to coordinate a 1-for-1 trade between Calgary and the New York Islanders. My client, Kadri, for your Bo Horvat.
That's a no-go. Sorry.
They're both. I'd rather have Kadri than Horvat in a 1-year scenario.
Well, but he's what, 3-4 years older, so I'm going to say no to that.
As long as it's not an 8-year deal that we're saddled with for Nazem Kadri, I'm okay with that.
It's another 6. No.
Okay.
No.
Please have Franklin the Turtle reach out to me so this can be accomplished. Okay. We'll go ahead and get Beaky the Buzzard on that immediately, Kadri's agent. We'll get him on it. Robert M says the Islanders had a chance to catch up to Tampa and started to lose. Okay. Kadri's agent said, we'll take your first round pick next year as well.
I'm sure. Well, that should be enough to get it done.
That seems like a no-go, Kadri. Got a comment here from Rob saying this season has the feel of a loss of the last game to miss out.
I can't see it. I can't see it. Here's the thing. I don't think the guys are going to. It's not like they're saying, "Hey, we're going to beat Montreal because we're more talented." They know they're not super talented. You have to be a fool not to know that. But I mean, we've been playing playoff hockey for a long time now.
Nothing is guaranteed with this team. I can't tell you, even after playing the system, we still have lost some of the games we're not supposed to lose. Any of these teams, the Florida Panthers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Islanders, can all lose games they're not supposed to lose. They're just not a very talented squads. It's that simple.
True. But I like our chances because we've been playing better than both of those teams over the last 25 years.
Florida Panthers have tied up the game against the Washington Capitals. It's a 1-1 affair between Florida and Washington. The BK Italian kid says, hey, guys, I was at the game on Thursday. The place was absolutely packed. It was a huge win. I think the Islanders get the 8th seed and play Boston in the first round. Hot take. It'll be the Islanders and the Rangers in the second round. That says the BK Italian kid. Oh, man. I'm not sure we beat Boston. Boston seems like a freaking a mountain too high to climb.
The toughest game should be the Washington game. It's in Washington.
I didn't know the Washington game was in Washington as well.
Yeah, that's in Washington.
Oof.
I mean,
oof. I'll just tell you, oof again.
I think I don't know where the Florida game is. Florida in Washington tonight, or is that a home game for them?
Florida they're at Capital One Arena, so they are in Washington tonight.
And I think their last 2 games are at home, I believe.
Correct. So they've got Toronto at home, and then they've got themselves the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, and that's So that's an advantage. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh's one of those teams. One of those 2 is a road game, I believe.
Could be.
I don't think that they're both home games, but they have the easiest. Pittsburgh should not lose another game, will they? They could. They could somehow. Their chances could be jarred at any time.
They can. And by the way, the Tampa Bay Lightning have come back to tie the Ottawa Senators. As much as they were down 3-1, they've come back to tie the Ottawa Senators 3-3 right now, that game. I'm looking here at the Penguins. Their last 2 games, they're going to be playing the Blackhawks, I believe, at home. They'll play the Blackhawks at home, and I believe they'll play the last game of the season will be on the road against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
And that's a Thursday game, is it not? I believe that's a Thursday game. So everyone else's
game is Thursday. Yep.
And I think the Islanders are done by Wednesday, correct?
I'll pull it up here.
Saturday, Monday, Wednesday. I think for the Islanders.
Yeah, Wednesday. So they play on Monday, and then they'll play on Wednesday. Wow. So we're going to know by Thursday the latest.
Well, Thursday's the last game of the season. That's last.
We're going to know by Thursday the latest.
Well, hopefully we'll have a 3-point lead on Pittsburgh going into Thursday, because then it doesn't matter.
Sure. Dan P said, agreed, Rob. That Capitals game scares me. Yes, it does. They play us hard.
That's the toughest one of our last three. It is.
You're not concerned, though, as you've mentioned multiple times.
I just
not
feel
concerned at all.
Not that I'm not concerned at all. I just feel we're going to make the playoffs. I mean, do you expect all three of these teams to win their last four?
Realistically, I could see a multitude of options. I could see a few teams losing the last two games of the season just because that's how these teams in this area play. Sometimes they come out and they lay eggs. Other times they play like they should.
I'm going to predict that none of them lay eggs the last couple of games of the season.
Okay. You never know. You never know with these teams. They've played poor, and sometimes weird shit happens. Adam P said you can't write off any of these as a guaranteed win. Thank you so much, Adam. That's correct. I agree. None of these are guaranteed wins. One of the guys who sat in front of me had a video shout out to you guys during the Bolts game. I think he may have been a guest on your show. Huh. I didn't know that. Adam P, let us know who you sat next to. Who is it? Who is it you sat next to? We maybe had him on our show. You have to tell him. I'm interested. Rob said TJ's going to his room without dinner tonight.
Yep.
I'm eating plenty of dinner tonight. John Smith said the Islanders have amnesia. It takes a period every game for them to remember that they, in fact, played together before. Oh, man. I don't think I didn't think they looked too disjointed in the first. But this game has kind of been relatively
it's an Islander game.
Boring game.
It's an Islander game. This is an Islander type game. I expect us to win tonight. If we were playing a high flying team, I'd be concerned. Philadelphia is a bad team. They're a bad team. And they have not, I mean, anything we gave them in the first period, they've done nothing in the second period. Absolutely nothing.
Neither team has done anything in the second period. It's just been
That's an Islander game. That's an Islander game.
By the way, Flyers are out shooting the Islanders 17-9. Hard to tell it by the action. I wouldn't have ever predicted that they're out shooting. My God. Flyers are out shooting the Islanders 17-9. So, hey, I guess we're back in that we need that Sorokin to make 40 to 50 saves of the night in order to win us games.
I'm just going to tell you that I think that that the third line for the Islanders has been the best on the team for a while now.
I think they've played well. I think Engvald's played well. I think that Parishes played well. I think Jean-Gabriel Pageau's played well.
Isn't Palmieri on that third line?
I thought they've been bouncing things around. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Engvald's maybe on the second.
Yeah,
he's on the second with Lee. They've been bouncing. It's tough to tell with Lane Lambert. They bounce things around like nobody's business. But yeah, that's right. Lee was with Engvald, and but they've bounced a few things around. Because remember, Lee was playing on the third line for a bit too, just a few games ago.
Yeah, but that's not where he's really been.
It looks like it's Florida 1-0 again. Unless it's another high stick. It's a no goal again. Holy shit. So Florida's had 2 goals taken off the board tonight, and it's a 1-1 game?
No idea.
Holy shit. I heard Laviolette had locker room issues between Yashin, Pekka, and Blake. Group off the record. Huh.
Possible.
Damn, Adam. That's one way to get yourself shoot out of town when you had a relatively decent record for the Islanders, at least.
Yeah, well. That's ancient history now, isn't it? Talking about, what, 20-some-odd years ago?
Nick D said here, Grumpy, what I meant about Bo getting the 6th goal was he scored it when obviously Tampa just gave up at the end of the game. Bo is a no-show.
Yeah.
He's not played to, I think, what the expectation was him when they had signed him or traded for him. As a deadline, as a deadline pickup. Adam P said
2-0. This game's over. This game's over. Game over. 10th shot goal. Carter Hart lets in a goal from Brock Nelson off the wing from 30 foot out.
Yeah. And you know who made that great stretch pass?
Was it Noah Dobson?
Yes, it was.
Of course it was.
Something that no other defenseman on that team can do. You wonder why Noah Dobson makes $10 million a year? Because he's the only defenseman that can do anything like that.
From his end line.
From the blue line.
That's
I'm sorry, from the red line.
Yeah, from his end line to the red line. That's terrible shot to let in by Carter Hart.
Hell of a pass. That is a weak. He sucks. Carter Hart blows.
That's why we're going to make the playoffs. Our goal
We're not
is
playing the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers are the bottom team.
They are
bottom 5, bottom 7 team in the NHL.
Right. I'm just saying this game's over.
That's correct.
Because Florida sucks. I mean, because Florida sucks too. Because the Flyers suck. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be my favorite win of the season because I hate the Flyers. Absolutely hate them.
Okay.
And then it's going to be 2 games to go. Who's going to be the team that spits the bit in the last 2 games?
I fear we lose to Washington.
Pittsburgh really has been their own worst enemy. What a save by Sorokin.
Okay.
Adam P says, I could picture the angry old man saying it doesn't matter like The Rock. It doesn't matter what Pittsburgh does. Big save by Carter Hart there, though.
Heart blows. Islanders JJ said, let's say we get the top wild card. Who would you rather play, the Devils or the Hurricanes? The Devils.
Devils. Even though the Hurricanes are scuffling a little bit, Hurricanes own us. I mean, all you need to do was watch the game last Sunday. That's the way most of the Islander Hurricane games have gone in the last 3-4 years. It's better than we are.
Apex Legends Senior Citizen says, a Lou worshiping friend of mine says, it doesn't matter if the Islanders miss the playoffs this year. I've never seen a better general manager. Tell your Lou worshiping friend that maybe he should look at other teams besides the New York Islanders if he's going to make a statement that wide.
What's your friend's name? Chris Lamoriello? Or is it Lou Lamoriello?
Or is it who's Lou married to? Mrs. Lamoriello.
Yeah, Mrs. Lou.
The low standards are pathetic, grumpy old man.
Yeah, without a doubt. He needs to go. Anyone to say that, I mean, maybe they're blind. That's possible.
Christopher C said, TJ Grumpy, why are you guys afraid of Boston? Yeah, I get that they're good, but they're not immortal. They have a weakness, just like every other team. Don't be afraid of them. I'm not afraid of Boston. I think that they're just better than us.
The game is much more wide open here after that second goal, and it's just a matter of time before the Islanders score their third. You're seeing why the Flyers
really
suck.
Like when Adam Pelech is playing out of characteristic and pinching up ice in the offense and heavy forecheck, I don't imagine that's what they want him to do there.
Florida Panthers up 2-1 in the second at the end of 2.
Holy shit! The Florida Panthers just scored again.
I expect them to win.
Florida Panthers up 2-1.
So what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what Florida does.
Again, as I've mentioned, I think that Washington Capitals game that you're not worried about, I feel that was the game we had the biggest chance to lose the remainder of the season. I thought, again, as I mentioned, we were beating Tampa. I thought we were beating the Flyers, and I thought we were beating Montreal. The Washington Capitals are the only team I could envision us losing to.
I thought we'd lose to Tampa and win the last 3. That's what I thought we'd do.
Yeah, there was no way in hell we were going to lose to Tampa as they played the Rangers the night before, and they had 70 penalty minutes, and it was like a WWE match. There was no way in hell, as you're riding that emotional high, when you fought tooth and nail against the Rangers, and then you were coming to play the Islanders. There was no way in hell you're going to have the same compete level. Just wasn't. Got to your comment from Rick Roma saying the Panthers have already had 2 disallowed goals. That's nuts. They're up 2-1 with 2 disallowed goals. Maybe we don't have to worry about anything for the Capitals. If the Capitals are playing this shitty, maybe they're going to lay an egg against us on Monday.
Like they've been laying eggs the last couple of weeks. They've obviously given up.
In the last few weeks, remember, they played us on March 29th, and they lost. They still took us to shootout.
Still lost.
Okay.
I don't think the Islanders can afford.
If we go to another shootout game, just looking at our odds in shootout, I don't feel too confident.
I don't know what the breakdown is for, the tiebreaker. I don't know if we would still have.
We are behind. If we're tied, we do not make the postseason. As I mentioned before, if we're tied on same points with Florida and Pittsburgh, we don't make the postseason.
I don't understand why you're saying that.
Because that's how it's been every time we've been tied with those teams. Every single time we've been tied with those teams on the points, they're always ahead of us for that exact reason.
Well, isn't it regulation overtime wins first? Then I think it's that could happen because then we would have less leverage. I don't think we can afford to even lose in shootout.
Correct. Yes, we cannot afford to lose in shootout. If a game goes to shootout against Washington, we are 1-6 in shootout this year. I do not feel good in shootout.
Well, I just don't think we can afford to lose a game in shootout then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
But
So
you never know.
we're gonna go to the power play. Hold
Let
on.
me
What
tell you
was the
something.
penalty what was the penalty on Philly?
I think cross-checking or
I thought they called it a hook, but it didn't look like much a hook. Now, do we finally score a power play goal?
oh man, I'll tell you what, Bo Horvat, he moves, just not
He
getting the
sucks. He
nice
absolutely sucks.
nice pass from Noah Dobson, who's playing at the half wall. A nice pass right to Horvat, and he just missed the net.
He sits there and he freaking thinks about it. Shoot the fucking puck as soon as it's on your
beautiful.
stick. You piece
No,
of
it was,
shit.
it was deflected by Provorov.
He waits. He waits. As soon as that thing's on your freaking stick, rifle that bitch.
Okay, the guy was.
Look at him. He waits. He's sitting. He's thinking to himself. It's like a freaking guy in the infield. Should I shoot? Boom.
As soon as he got it, he shot it. That's what he did. But again, Noah Dobson playing lower, like I said, at the half wall, at the faceoff dot, makes a brilliant pass. But after Barzell, I think he's the guy who's the best passer on the team.
He's great. Offensive talent. Mark A said the Devils will win this division. Well, got to win tonight if they're going to win the division.
Yeah, if they don't win tonight, I don't like their chances.
They're getting beat 2-1 by Boston already. So I'm not so sure. Once the Bo Horvat trade happened, as discussed, they have to go all in. And Engvald was a decent deadline acquisition.
Okay. I just think it was a mistake trading away all your assets for a team that's not going to win a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
You had a chance, one last chance to reinvigorate the franchise and chose to go in the opposite direction. So, like I said, by the time we're good again, Lamoureux is probably going to be dead. I'll be honest with you.
Could be.
I mean, he's going to be in his
maybe 90s.
But by the time that he retires, he's going to be what, 82, 83?
82, 83 years old.
And then
how often do oh, go ahead.
Then we're going to have to start a full-on rebuild.
And how often do full-on rebuilds fail and you have to do another rebuild in the rebuild? Happen for the Devils, happens for the Red Wing. Look at how many of these teams, as they're rebuilding, have to do another revamped mini rebuild because the first rebuild is kind of falling flat. Well, it happens sometimes.
Chicago was the latest team.
Sure. All of these teams, it happens more often than not where as you're rebuilding, you're kind of like, oh, we don't have the right pieces. We need to kind of rebuild it again.
Or you identify which of the young guys that you thought were going to be part of the plan are not any longer. So you move them to try to get more assets.
And it takes 7+ years in order to be good again. Well, that would make Lou Lamoriello around 90. Just life expectancy. What a nice win off the – my God.
Almost.
Flyers, nice win off the draw.
The Islanders almost gave the Flyers a goal there on a power play.
Almost hit the post, by the way. Holy crap. My God.
That would have been
catastrophic.
That would have been a momentum, not catastrophic. It would have been a momentum changer for certain. Nice to see Samuel Bolduc get some time on the power play, though. I mean, I think he's absolutely going to make the team next year.
He should.
Yeah, he should.
Well, there's your replacement, though. There's your replacement.
3-0.
Yeah.
3-0.
We finally score a power play goal. Or is that not in the power play, Grumpy? It's a question for you because you're ahead of me.
I don't know if it was power play or not.
It's a power play.
It was close. It was close to the end.
Power play. I just pulled it up. I've got it. Okay. I'm on delay. If you
6 seconds in a power play. Yep.
I just told you that. Did you doubt me?
Yes, I did.
Joseph C. said, Phil flip-flops every day on Twitter. All the cold air in Canada must be affecting his brain.
That's it.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that's a high stick.
Are they going to review that?
They should. That's absolutely a high stick from Parise. Let's see what Butch says.
Yes, that's a blatant high stick.
Let's see. Absolutely, that's a high stick.
They're going to review it.
Right on the bar, Butch says, oh, please, come on, Butch. No, he's so full of shit. That's a high stick.
Listen.
That's a tough one. Oh, that's right on the bar, isn't it? By the time look at the ref, he's calling it. It's right off the bar.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't close. It wasn't close.
That was right on the bar. Please stop. As a blatant high. Okay, so the Islanders don't score another power. I would have really loved to see.
I don't see how he can say that was right on the bar because he's got it. No.
It's an official. Yeah, that is well over the bar. Please. It doesn't change the outcome of this game at all.
Brendan said he thinks this one's coming back.
It was well over the bar.
At the bar level. No. I can't believe he's doubling down on that.
Butchie cannot do the job anymore. And I love Butch, but he can't do it's hard to listen to him. Hard to at this point. He definitely makes contact well above the bar. That's fine. It doesn't a 2-0 lead is still very safe against the Flyers.
No goal. Goal just nullified.
No, Grumpy. That was right at the bar. The Islanders didn't get a 50-50. Butch is probably going to be upset. Oh, no.
So no power play goal.
We still have 6 seconds left. So don't count us out yet. Mark.
I don't know how. Now they're showing it. It's like, yeah, it's, I mean, God, it's like this much over the bar. I mean, come on. Here's the thing. If I could tell,
stick blade above the bar.
If I could tell on first blush here, it's like, come on, fellas. I don't have, yeah, it was pretty high. Yeah. It was
what I mean, like, honestly, no. It was more like this much above the bar, Grumpy. They're showing the pause. It was well above the bar. Mark A said, I'm proud of our rebound in the last 25 games. No Barzal. If we make the playoffs, Barzy back by game 3? No. I don't know if Barzal comes back at all, to be honest.
Yeah. And here's the thing. What percent is he going to be at?
A Barzal playing at 60 or 70% doesn't do us much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I think he's a big plus. We've seen the impact of Matt Barzal not being here, i.e., look at the power play. How bad can our power play realistically be? It's awful. We're bottom 3 in the NHL.
Yeah, it's been a slog. It's been a slog. I like the fact that they engaged Dobson at the half wall as opposed to at the point. I like that.
Yeah, sure.
Let him, like I said, with the exception of Barzal, I think he's the best passer on the team.
Yes. I think he's great. You saw the outlet pass he had. Nobody else on our defensive pairings can do that. Craig K says here, we need to win out. I agree, Craig. These other teams are at our heels. We have a chance against whoever we play in the playoffs. I don't agree with that last portion.
Disagree.
We do not have a chance against Boston. We watched how we played against Carolina. That was not a game where we played them close. A Devil's goal.
That was the one that made it 2-1.
TJ. Oh, was it? Okay.
That's
the Washington Capitals. No, Washington Capitals and Florida Panthers are tied 2-2 at the end of 2, Grumpy.
Okay. They must have come back and scored right at the end. My bad.
Rick Roma says, TJ doesn't know how good the Devils are. LOL. Not sure why the Devils are playing Blackwood, though. He's awful.
They don't have a goaltender. That's why.
I think the Devils want to make sure that come playoff time, they've got a healthy and well-rested goalie as well. I mean, is it good to have home ice advantage? Sure. But in the same token, they want to have a team that's well-rested, I think, too. They want to make sure they're ready to go. Got a comment here from...
They're playing a shitty Washington team. Oh, I'm sorry. They're playing Boston. They're playing
Boston.
That's right. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm fixated on the Florida.
On the game.
No, on the Florida Washington game. Islanders absolutely dominating play now.
This game's over. That's what happens, though. We mentioned it. When you go, you're out shooting a team 2-1 and you give up a second goal. A weak mental team just gets freaking throttled at this point. It's just that simple.
Do you think the Flyers have improved at all under Tortorella?
No, I don't.
I
think he's gone next year.
He should be gone at the end of this year.
The freaking Florida Panthers, or I'm sorry, the Philadelphia Flyers are a bad team. They don't have anybody in the organization that could help either. That's a team, right? We talk about the rebuild the Flyers have had. That's the type of rebuild the Islanders could be on, a freaking 10-year plan. That's what the Flyers have been on.
Well, they're just shitty. Bull Duke with a goal, 3-0. What a shot.
I've told you, this game is over. We're not losing against the Flyers. You still are excited that we're taking care of business against the bad Flyers. The team I'm worried about is the Washington Capitals, as I mentioned. Dude, I'll tell you, Carter Hart has taken you talk about where he was at least regarded when he came into the league. He's a guy who's failed, I think.
Nice using the boards by Casper Holmstrom.
Do you have a thought on that?
Just boom. Nice shot.
You have a thought on that statement, Grumpy?
I'm sorry. Which statement?
So you weren't listening. Okay, cool. I just said for where Carter Hart was expected when he came into the league, I think he's been a failure. And you just went ahead
They
and
have
said, oh,
okay. They don't play any defense, and I'm not saying he's great, but when you see a boatload of shots every night with, I mean,
he's faced 12 shots tonight.
Okay, but
Well,
there are probably 10 high danger scoring chances.
a shot from the dot is like a warm-up shot. That's fine. 2 assists for Simon Holmstrom, Grumpy. Look at him. He's off to a great start. I'm sorry. He's faced 17 shots. They've poured him on as of recent. He's faced 17 shots through 2 periods. Well, think about it. The Islanders, remember when the shot total was 17 shot attempts or 17 saves for 17 saves for Sorokin? That's correct. If you let me finish, 17 saves for Sorokin and then 9 shots against Carter Hart. 8 unanswered shots for the Islanders. You're right. They've just flipped it on and they've been dominating since that point.
The power play.
Well, no, it was the second goal. No, it was the second goal. After the second goal, we've dominated. It wasn't even as late as the power play. After that second goal, we've been dominant. Mrs. Nelson said, TJ, how dare you let your senile old negative father talk smack about my Brocky poo? That's right. I can't believe I'm going to let him do that. I can't believe I'm going to let him do that, Pony Bear Curtis. He makes several $1 million less and less AAV than both Bo Horvat as well as Matty B. He carries the team. By the way, Simon Holmstrom had no assists in the last 46 games. He's got 2 tonight. Simon Holmstrom ready to get his Calder trophy. Shine it up, boys and girls.
Mm-hmm.
My son
3 on the season. He's got 3 on the season now.
There it is. Mrs. Nelson said, my son Brocky Poo has one of the most underrated and elite wrist shots in the league. And we'll have you know he is not a softie.
He absolutely is a softie.
Freedom, fun, and adventure, Grumpy.
Today would have been my father's birthday if my dad, who turned me to an Islanders fan in Daytona Beach, he would love spending a day at Belmont betting like we used to and then seeing the game.
Mm.
Happy birthday to your dad, who is no longer with us.
Absolutely. JK says Philly is playing better than us as of the beginning of the second period. I thought that too. But then, hey, that's what happens when you outplay a team and they're just laying back with an elite goaltender. You sneak one through on a real fucking weakie, changes the outcome of the game.
The Flyers suck.
Yeah, Carter Hart letting that weakie in as the second goal was that was it. That was a nail.
The Flyers suck. They lose every night for a reason because their team sucks. They lose. They're terrible. And that's why I'm saying they look just as bad, if not worse, under Tortorella. You'd think that Tortorella would have, brought some structure to them. Not the case. They look just like the team they've been the last number of years. And you know what? If you have a guy like that as an asshole as a coach and you don't get any better, there's no better structure, there's no accountability, you don't need a guy like that. You know what you do need? New players. Flyers with some sustained offensive zone time. I think just now you're seeing the Zamboni marks getting wiped off to start the second period. But nothing really of any consequence. The Islanders playing a really solid defensive game right now. Whoop, Flyer guy hurt. No problem there.
Okay, Grumpy, we've got comments. We don't need to go. I was waiting until you're going to give me a second to go ahead, but no, we're not going to let that happen. Mrs. Nelson says here, we don't need to comment on the game when we're kicking the living shit out of the Flyers. We'll comment on the big items, but, I'd like to put you, Mr. Grumpy Pants, in one-arm wrestling match against my Whittle Brocky Poo. Well, see how soft he is then. And he's a lot more handsome than that Swede Pierre Engvall. Oh, gosh.
They're both the same.
Mikey D says...
neither one of them could ever be carpenters because they're allergic to boards.
There it is. Mikey D said something I've never seen. Flipped on the Rangers game for a second, and the ref called a 5-minute major and then reviewed and then said no penalty at all, laughing my ass off.
Well, you know what? I'm glad they reviewed the call then because obviously it wasn't a penalty at all and they missed it. So not at least the video review works for that.
Rick Roma said this is a game that is so fast-paced. Boston and the Devils are the 2 best teams in the East, no doubt in my mind. Devils don't have the goalie. Devils don't have the grit to win the postseason. I think the Devils are very. If you're talking about regular season team, I think they're a great regular season team. I think it's again too big of a ask and too big of a bite from the apple for
True.
1 year, 1 year
True.
jump. Unfortunately, Scott L said one player that got lost in the shuffle is Robin Salo. Does Lou trade him in the offseason, or has the organization given up on him? I think he doesn't even want to be. I think he goes back and plays European hockey. I don't think he wants to be here anymore. He's talked about how much a dump Bridgeport is. Robin Salo has no, and I mean no value. That's what happens when you give him a few games and say, oh, we're just anointing Sebastian Aho as the guy. That's what happens.
They mishandled Robin Salo like they've mishandled numerous young players over the last few years. They turn guys who are valuable assets or regarded as assets around the league, and they just grind them till they have no value whatsoever. It's honestly an organizational failure.
The BK Italian kid said, I predict a shootout loss against Montreal to miss the playoffs by one.
I bet we beat Montreal 5-6-1.
Okay. Again, very confident. Grumpy, very, very confident. Got a
comment. So you think that Washington has a shot to beat us? I mean, that Montreal has a shot to beat us? Okay.
5-6-1.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an ass whooping.
They're like Flyer Atlantic Division. They're the Philadelphia Flyers of the Atlantic Division. They suck.
Okay. Got an ad today to read from DraftKings. From the tee to the green, the best place to get it in on all of the action happening on this is the links in DraftKings Sportsbook. This week, new customers can receive an odds boost in an ad to add plus 1,000 to any pre-game wager, up to $10 on any golfer to win. So, for example, if you're a new customer and you see a golfer to win the tournament at plus 1,000 odds, DraftKings will boost that golfer to plus 2,000 odds for your shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings will be featuring parlays and odd boosts all tournament long. So be sure to check the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day before the tournament starts and see what they have in store. So, hey, you can bet. I know that the tourney is still going on. I mean, the Masters is going to be finishing up tomorrow, but hey, you could still bet. You could still find a bet. You could still bet on whoever you like, whatever your favorite golfer is for this year's Masters. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and boost your odds during this weekend's tournament. Again, that's promo code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, if you have a gambling problem, see the description below and the details there to go ahead and see who you can call if you've got a gambling problem there. We can't read all that. But yes, so again, in the description below is disclaimers there. We're not going to read off HOPENY and all that other stuff, but it says here, a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 1-800-32. I'm not going to read all that. Anyway, I don't know if we did it right or not, but hey, we're moving along here.
I believe that Brooks Koepka is leading the Masters.
He had a great first day too, if I recall, right?
Yeah. I think he had the lead. I didn't see at the end, but I know he had the lead at some point today.
Okay. Let's continue on. Mr. Buster. Grumpy.
Oh, okay. You want me to read it? No problem.
Yes, please. I'm trying to think of something else.
Is Aho the worst defenseman in the Islanders' entire system? Too small, falls down, easy to go around. Green, Hickey, and Chara are still better options than Aho. I disagree. Hickey, he is like Hickey, in my opinion, just with more offensive upside. He's a better passer. Green and Chara were cashed. Come on, stop. It's funny. They have a new segment called Hicks Things, which they do in between periods. Like they're trying to make it something. They need to come up with a better name. If you're going to have a little segment where somebody does something, you have to come up with something else. I don't know what it is, but that's not working.
Grumpy. So you said it's something called Hicks Things?
Yeah, it's called Hicks Analysis. I guess the Hickey is now Hicks, HICX''S. They need to come up with something better. I don't know, something else than Hicks Analysis. I just think Come on, work on it. Work on it, people.
Okay. Adam P said the Facebook connection sucks tonight. I'm sorry, Adam P. I don't get anything like we've got bad connection on our side, but I don't know. Maybe Facebook's having an issue. Gungun says,
Facebook.
TJ and Grumpy, how high or low did you rate Gilbert Godfrey as a comedian? I thought he was funny. Probably upper middle is where I think he is as a comedian.
I liked him when he did like the roasts. Because it's that grating voice. I don't know how good I never saw him live as stand up, but I've seen him on the roasts and I've heard him, on other shows where he was entertaining. But when he does his shtick in the comedy roast, I thought he was really good.
And a P, Grumpy.
I wish I knew his name. Taller guy, dark hair, glasses, wore a ball cap. He recorded the fight in our section 103 at the end of the game during the bow goal. Well, I'll tell you what, we better get that fight and hopefully that it's in landscape mode.
He said he went to a game with a guy who wore glasses.
Sound like DB Cooper for a second. Defensive back Cooper.
I don't know. Gungun says, comrades, what's the best remedy for a sore throat? Should I go on a long walk in the cold and wet air? Shorts in my Islanders jersey?
Probably not. It would just make it worse.
I think that would help, Gungun. Get your wet hair out there and be nice and chilly. That's going to help your sore throat. Islanders, JJ said, I'm starting to realize something. I shit talk a player, they score a goal. I shit talk Mayfield earlier, and he scored.
There you go.
Mr. B. Grumpy.
Do you think the Flyers hate the Penguins so much that they throw this game? No. I think they just suck. I'm glad they're losing. I hope we beat them 100-0. I hate the Flyers.
Mrs. Nelson, my precious Brocky Poo scored again. F you, Grumpy. Freedom Fun Adventure says Bailey should never, and I mean ever, be given the honor of wearing an Islanders jersey again. TJ, any idea on how bad Grumpy would tune you up? Kadri over Horvat. No freaking way.
Absolutely.
Tune me up. What does that mean, Grump?
Give you a little bitch slap or two.
Yeah, please. Adam P said, it doesn't matter. Anything can happen. That's right. Anything can happen. We're at that point of the season. Anything can happen. Don't forget goal differential on a tiebreaker. That's not the first tiebreaker, though. I think first tiebreaker is wins in regulation. Gungun says, Grumpy.
No, it's regulation, overtime wins, then wins in regulation, I believe.
Okay. Gungun said, and we've got a lot of overtime points, so all these other teams have more wins in regulation / overtime than we do.
No, they don't.
They do.
They don't. We all have the same. Every single team has the same.
Okay.
And Pittsburgh, after today's game, has the same amount. Pittsburgh needs to have somebody lose for them to get it.
Okay. We shall see. Gungun said, Grumpy, did you squeal in delight when Hot-Hit and Holmstrom hit the back of the net Thursday night?
I turned the game off at that point. Actually, I think we were doing the podcast, were we?
We were doing the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show.
Yeah, so I didn't see it. And
One which we did not see your attendance, Gungun.
Oh, that's right.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, continue, Grump.
I did not see it, so to me, it didn't really happen.
It's a must-win tonight. Adam P said, oh, don't forget goal differential there. And how hard is it to score on a power play, says James F.
For the Islanders, extremely difficult. They're interviewing Noah Dobson. Gosh, he still looks like he's about 15.
My little brownie, Grumpy. He does look young.
He does, but it looks like he actually has to shave now. He's shaved. You can tell, but you can tell he's got some stubble underneath. So good for you, Noah Dobson. My little brownie says his facial expressions are telling me that any minute now, Torts will pull a Mike Keenan. You guys suck. Coach yourselves. Didn't he do that already this year?
He's got issues. He's on a short leash.
Okay. The game. Here's the thing. I think he was a really good coach in his time, won a Stanley Cup, but I think it's kind of passed him by.
Rob, I don't disagree. Rob says only the Islanders can make a trade, give up so much, and end up with the second best bow in the deal since the trade. Yes, absolutely, Rob. That's the unfortunate truth.
Yeah.
Adam P says, yes, it was. Agreed. I was a sell guy. I'm with you. Jeremy Ford said, first tiebreaker is regulation wins. Islanders win a tiebreaker with the Penguins, but not likely with the Panthers at this rate. In other words, if the Islanders win tonight, they're really up, not by 1, but by 2 points. Okay.
Right. With Pittsburgh. Absolutely.
Oh my God. Inches from a goal for Philly. Or a Parise, maybe. I don't know. And look, Grumpy, it's Andrew Gross. Andrew Gross has, I guess, a burner YouTube account. Says, hey, guys, I'd appreciate if you stop making fun of my soft demeanor in regards to the press conference the other day with Lou. I'm not sure we can do that, Andrew Gross. He was actually had his Goombas. Dangle.
It's okay. It's Goombas, not Goombas. Goombas.
It's Goombas. It's like Goombas. Dangle me off the side of the UBS arena after that. It was actually quite terrifying. I peed and pooped myself a little. There it is.
Probably more than a little.
Thomas Morris says here, I said this about a month ago. I take 95 points to get in. Have to win the rest. Yeah, we do.
True.
Drew L said, hey, TJ, I'm going to be pretty inactive during this chat. I'm finishing up a college paper. Let's do it midnight. There it is, man. You got to wait to the last minute. I like it. Procrastination station. Drew is living there. Andrew Gross said they branded the word omerta on the left side of my butt cheek. That's almost like, I think I've heard Ponyberg Curtis say this before, Grumpy. This guy, Ponyberg Curtis, or Andrew Gross must be good friends with Ponyberg Curtis. If I wanted to keep my press pass, I've got to stick to the script. I'm actually pretty afraid for my life, boys. I don't know what to do. They said even if I quit my job and fled the country, the Islanders cartel media would find me.
Gotta watch out for them.
Oh no. Enemy of the cartel media. Torts New Bridge.
New Bridgeport head coach next year.
Oh gosh. Oof.
Doubtful.
I
don't know what do you know what the deal he signed with Philadelphia was? How many years it was worth?
That was a 3-year deal, right?
Well, he gets paid for another 2 years after this.
Marque said TJ owes us an apology. I'm not sure what for. But sure. I'm not sure what for. Bulldog has a cannon. Hey,
nice
Bulldog
shot.
again, he's proven that he could be an NHLer. Absolutely, he has.
Think about it. Last year was really a write-off, a struggle year for him. He's bounced back this year, and I like what I've seen from him. So now, maybe in the future you have Dobson and Bolduc as a pairing. I'd still rather split them up, to be honest with you. I'd rather have Pulak with Bolduc and Dobson with Pelech. That's what I'd want to have. Leave Romanoff on the freaking bottom pair, wherever.
Andrew Gross said nothing is more important to the Islanders cartel media than the code of Lumerta. If you break it, Lou murders. Lou murders you, probably is what he meant to say. But he stopped. Oh gosh. Lou murders. I love Bolduc. He could be Fredo's first hit. Maybe his first non-draft bust. What do you guys think of Bolduc?
I just mentioned it.
I like Bulldog, absolutely.
Yep.
Happy Easter to you and everyone else. Grumpy, remember
the Easter epic. Sure do. Hard to believe that was a playoff game.
Mm-hmm. I tell you there. Happy Easter, says JP. Happy heavenly birthday to your father. Absolutely. And Bulldozer. Bullock hammered it after 38 specials. Goal was called back.
True.
Mark said, my dad died 23 years ago. It stinks. Sorry to hear that there, Mark. Yeah. And Hope Sorokin gets his 6th shutout. Rob also saying happy Easter.
He's going to have to get 16 more if we're going to, once the playoffs start. I think he's got to get 16 shutouts for the Islanders to win a Stanley Cup. 16 shutouts.
Porter Curtis said, boys, I freaking hope that Florida loses in regulation. Ugh. Well, it is still, I believe, a 2-2 tie between Florida and Washington.
2-2, 17:28 to go in the third.
Yep. Adam P. said, happy Easter, Passover, whichever to all of the Never Say Die crew. Absolutely. Rick Roma says, without Chris Lemmerl, the Islanders wouldn't have Hudson Fasching. Maybe you two should appreciate the greatness of your future general manager.
Anybody could have got Hudson Fasching. Anybody. anybody. He was there for anyone to take.
Yeah.
It still bothers me when I remember what Lamoriello said, Papa Lou said. Oh, you got Chris. He thought he could really turn out to be something on the big team. Come up. That's any ham and egger. That's any ham and egger. And I like Hudson Fashion. I like him. But don't make him sound more than he is. He's a bottom pairing guy. He's a bottom 6 guy. Stop.
Ari45 says, is she flirting with Grumpy? I don't know who that is, but
I don't know.
maybe.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
We all hope Florida loses. Last day I know it's 2-2. Yep, it's 2-2 game. Pony Curtis said, why do you think that I'm Mrs. Nelson? It's probably Tony Cheese or Gungoon. No, it's definitely you, Pony Boy. We know it. You could rip Lou and say how bad he's been every day after that too, Andrew Groves.
Chooses not to.
Chaps, Carter Hart or Tristan Jarry?
Carter Hart.
Carter Hart. They're both not great goalies, but Carter Hart.
Yeah.
Trotz should have waited till Philly fired Tortorella. Then Trotz could have been their next season coach. Well, he's the general manager now.
Which is, I think, what he wanted to be.
Isn't Trotz just Tortorella if he was less of a dick?
No, I don't think so. Tortorella is really abrasive. But you know what? Some teams need that. Okay? But I don't think that's what Trotz is at all. Lambert had to be the bad guy.
A Pony Boy Curtis, Grumpy.
Okay, I have a serious question, boys. Who has contributed more to the Islanders' success this year? Yari or Sorokin? Sorokin, but second is definitely Jarry. Without Tristan Jarry and Calvin Smith, we are not even in the playoff hunt.
Pony Boy Curtis said, and another serious question. I want details as to why and back up the argument. Lundqvist in his prime or Sorokin and why? Right now, it's Lundqvist just because he did it for such a longer time period. I mean, I think the longer that time goes on, if Sorokin could still play at this level, I'd say Sorokin. But he's got a long way to go to still prove that.
100% agree. 100%.
James S. said, can Mets fans stop panicking? You guys won 2 in a row now. The Yankees up 4-1. Looks like a win for the Yanks.
Yeah, you can't lose your mind over the first week of the season. Can't do it.
Rick Roma says TJ's reaction to the Romanoff trade was one of the best I've ever seen. And he was right. Trade sucked. Did anybody think that he was a good trade for the Islanders when it happened? No. People tried. After the dust settled, people found ways to explain what was a good trade. Do you remember when I said, Horvat wasn't going to be much of anything either for the Islanders?
I remember.
Yeah, it's still looking like that's looking like a mighty accurate take still. So,
Okay. You got to wait till Barzal's back.
Okay. We've got to have him with the best player on our team in order for him to score more than, I don't know.
That's right.
4 points a game.
That's right. He's not a creator. He's never been a creator.
Every other player. Anders Lee's not a creator. How has Anders Lee been able to put any pucks into that without Matt Barzal? How has that happened? He's not a creator.
Horvat actually moves. And Anders Lee just stands in front of the net. There's a difference. Horvat's a better player than Anders Lee.
Is Brock Nelson a creator?
Nope.
How is he scoring points?
He's got guys like Tristan Jarry and Carter Hart trying to stop his pucks. He moves. Let me tell you something. I just move on. I don't know why you're begging on Horvat.
Because it was a miserable trade, and he's going to be wildly underwhelming with the Islanders. Okay. Just as I predicted come the freaking night of the draft or the night of the trade, I'm not wrong about that either.
Okay. Be careful because he's going to have Barzal playing with him, and he looked really good with Barzal. It wouldn't shock me at all next year if he had 15-plus power play goals. He moves so the puck can get to him in an advantageous position. You saw it tonight with Dobson. He moves. He's not standing still like all the other guys on this power play.
Dobson had a great outlet pass to Brock Nelson, not to Bo Horvat.
I'm talking about Bo Horvat next year.
You talked about Dobson, but anyway, John Smith said Sal will be fine. Problem is the Islanders are really deep at left defense. Good problem to have.
They dumped on him.
He has got no chance, John. He's got absolutely no chance ever to crack the lineup on a consistent basis. It's unfortunate. We never really got to know. Boys, can we talk about Pulak almost putting that one in the net on a power play?
Oh, he wanted to score at some point in time this year.
It was bad.
I know he scored against Tampa also. I know that.
That was bad. I cannot believe you almost slid that in. In the description below is a link to save TJ's hairline. Guys, click it now and have a small donation. Anything helps.
Ouch.
Look at you, Drew. Guys, my girlfriend and I did our grocery shopping last night. I forgot to order for Easter. So I went to Giant Eagle to get a spiral ham. Cost me $30. Unreal of a price.
Hey, I'm not even Hicks takes. Ugh, still, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
That's they need to come up with something else for his segment.
Drew L said, a reminder, maybe Gottfried. I remembered Gottfried as a fire siren from a fire safety children's video. He was the funniest and creepiest thing of that video. Can't say I ever watched that. James F said at the Masters, Bennett, the amateur, is tied for 4th place.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's one of the tournaments that I watch. I usually watch some of the final round and even some of the 3rd round. I didn't today, though. I just happened to be bouncing around and noticed was on.
Jay said, I love Gilbert Gottfried. Listen to his bit with Norm MacDonald about Catherine Zeta-Jones and lupus. Oh, God.
Haven't heard that. I'll have to check that out.
I'll have to listen to it, Jay. More of a Patrice O'Neill guy, but hey, I'm down to listen. The gambling commercial with Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad is literally terrifying. They literally are trying to subconsciously brainwash you. It's a real greasy ad targeting degenerate gamblers. Drew L said, by the way, Matthew Maggio is about to sign his entry-level contract. Elliot Freeman just tweeted about that. Yeah, I remember. How did Maggio do in the postseason? Fantastic, no, Matthew Maggio. Not much. I'll pull up the numbers. Goon Grumpy.
Do you think Tom Brady has gone on a date yet, or is he too busy enjoying avocado ice cream? I don't know. I really don't know. I bet you. Well, he's still in really good shape. He's been throwing footballs with, I know, Edelman. He was playing some beach football with Edelman, Amendola, and Gronk. I think he still wants to play, but you can't come back from retiring twice. You can't do it twice. Once, okay. Twice, you're Brett Favre, right? Do you think he ate avocado ice cream?
I think he could still come back. I know you don't, but I still think he can come back.
I mean, do you think he ate avocado ice cream for fun, or just because he liked ice cream, but he had to? He was, a real health nut too.
Avocado ice cream sounds delicious.
Sounds terrible.
You don't need anything that's green. So, yeah, you wouldn't even eat mint chocolate chip ice cream because it's got too much green in there for you.
I don't like the flavor.
Yeah, no, you just don't like healthy things. Matthew Maggio during the regular season had played 66 games, had 111 points. So, about, he had I'm just going to say about 1.7 points a game. In the postseason, 4 games played, a goal and an assist. It's funny when you start playing good teams. It's like, oh shit, that guy that we just keep, that Phil's facts keep celebrating, saying how he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, plays a good team come playoff time and doesn't do much.
Flyers come out with much more jump here the first minute or so of the 3rd period.
Yeah,
and then they give up a breakaway chance, and Palmieri misses the net.
I thought he just put it off the crossbar.
No, I think
you're behind.
I think he just missed the net.
Pony Curtis said, boys, can you at least admit that you were wrong about last season when you both said 1,000 times over and over Brock was having a career season and it would never be repeated? Sure, we were wrong on that. Brock Nelson had he's had 3 or 4 career years in a row, and every time it gets better. Now, I can tell you this. I can tell you I'm 1,000% positive that Brock Nelson will not do this again. Believe me this time, though, because I don't think Brock Nelson's hitting 100 plus points next year, or he's not hitting 89 or 90 points next year. You can take that to the bank.
If they had played the defensive system that they're playing right now, he would not have had anywhere near the year
Correct.
that he had last year.
Correct.
I mean,
Yep.
he scored a boatload of points when they were, fire engine hockey stuff. That's when he scored most of his points.
Punter Curtis said Noah Dobson looks prepubescent.
Yeah, he still looks so young. I'm jealous.
James F says, where's Son X?
He's out of town today.
Again, always out of town. I've heard rumors that this game has diminished because
his game has
diminished because he's got a girlfriend now who cares less about hockey. DJ, pull up Dobson and his girlfriend. Oh God. Grumpy, let's read the Scott L.
Come playoff time, the power play will hurt them not being able to score, or it could cost them a game or two. Well, if it costs them a game or two, they're going to lose in 4. So that's all I have to say. Drew says, effing TV off, TJ.
Yeah, Grumpy's living with the Stevie on. That's
Tim
right.
J says, the problem with our power play is we do not know how to make consecutive passes. I'm not going to disagree. I think there was just no movement, no pace, no nothing. Just doesn't work. Drew says, no procrastination. I've been doing this for 3 days. It's a 20-page paper.
Sounds like some procrastination station. I'm not seeing any of them on his Instagram page there, Punter Curtis. So you're going to have to send us a clip or a picture of that.
Palmieri has taken a penalty.
Tripping, yeah.
Seems unhappy about it.
Okay. John Smith said, what are the chances Trotz pulls Lane Lambert away to coach Nashville next season?
I don't see it happening. He's under contract. You think Lamoriello is going to let him go? I don't see that.
Okay.
Drew has a comment. TJ owes us an apology for not covering his head with a hat.
Okay, there it is.
Then Ponyboy Curtis says, okay, TJ and Grump, assuming you're both single, Shannon Hogan, smash or pass?
Smash, sure. Why not?
Pass.
Sunday Sand says, hi, TJ and Grumpy. What do you think would be a fair deal for Engvald?
2 years, $3 million per. That's it.
I'm going to say he'd probably be around the 4-year mark, probably around $3 million. So overpaid with too much term. That's a typical.
2 years.
This season, the Islanders at home are the best penalty killing team in the NHL. 88.9% of their penalties are killed at home.
Too bad they're not going to have enough home games where that to matter.
Yep. Thomas Hickey looks like an insect. Or Grumpy is going to say Engvald is just a guy. He has speed, he's soft, and doesn't fit the team.
Those
are all true.
If they're playing this style of game, he doesn't really fit what they do. But if you're going to re-sign him, 2 years, $3 million per. That's a fair deal, in my opinion.
Jay Grumpy.
Why doesn't Ken Morrow get credit for Hudson Fashing? Because his name isn't Chris Lamoriello. Period. That's the reason. I don't think Chris Lamoriello signs anybody. You think he's beating the bushes for talent?
You mean pounding the pavement? Cizikas just went off injured. Blocked the shot, I believe. Maybe just hit him in the nuts. I don't know. Hopefully he'll be fine.
Thomas Morris says, Kelly Rudy, 73 saves in the Easter Epic. What an awesome game. Yeah, I remember that. I remember I went to work and I came back and the game was still on. Incredible.
Still a 2-2 tie between Washington and Florida. 9 minutes and 40 seconds remaining.
Right down to the wire.
Adam P said, did Martin leave halfway through the second period? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Casey's trying to walk it off. They want to take him back to the room, but he's got a serious hobble going on right now. Very serious hobble.
Oof.
Doesn't necessarily mean anything.
He is leaning on. He is. Yeah, he was. Yeah,
he took it to He took it to.
It's a hip
where there's no protection on the stick.
Hip.
No, hip. It did not hit him in the hip. Hit him in the foot. Hit him in the foot.
Oh God.
Where there's no protection there. He's trying to walk it off. Hopefully, he's not a break there. He's walking better than he was 20 seconds ago, though. So maybe he'll be able to walk it off. He's tough. He's tough.
Oh God.
I don't know if Martin left halfway through the second or not.
He still has a severe limp, Grump.
Well, it was better than it was before, believe me.
Okay. Pony Curtis, Grump.
Do you guys think as a fan base we've underrated Wade Dublowitz? I don't think anyone rated him at all. So I can't think that that's underrated. Boy, that was a close icing call right there. It says, how strong was Ken Bobgardner? really, really strong.
Brandon Fry says, "What's up, everybody? It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
What's up? How are you, Brandon? Been a while. It's been a while. Anyway, Joseph C. Grumpy.
As much as I love Lundqvist, last season, Shesterkin, and this season, Sorokin had better years than Lundqvist ever had. Yeah, I don't know, man. Lundqvist was so good for so many years. That's the thing when you say who's better. It's not a 1 year thing. I mean,
Lundqvist had some fame, probably, right?
Yeah, Lundqvist had some really tremendous individual seasons. It's over the course of a career. I mean, Shesterkin.
Yeah,
I mean, Shesterkin wasn't anywhere near as good this year as he was last year.
Sure. I do think that Lundqvist probably makes the Hall of Fame. Yep. And Shesterkin and Sorokin making the Hall of Fame it's not a sure thing yet.
Yeah.
Put him Curtis. TJ.
What did they play? 2-3 years in the league?
Yeah, 3 years. Put him Curtis said, TJ, I heard you aspired to be a professional scooter rider in your youth. Why did you give up on this dream? I don't know. I'm picking it back up. I'm picking it back up, Hunter Curtis, and you're my inspiration.
Too big for a scooter, I think.
There it is. Hunter Curtis said, who had the nicest goal tonight so far, boys? Bolduc, Nelson, or Mayfield? Bolduc.
As Casey's back on the ice during a timeout, TV timeout, skating around in circles. So he's fine.
Godfrey's version of the Aristocrats joke was the best.
Yeah.
Is Nick Key.
Yeah, the Aristocrats. Yeah.
Rick Roma, Grumpy,
I heard a rumor that Godfather 3 is your favorite movie and Caddyshack 2 is your favorite comedy. Any truth to that rumor? No truth to either one of those rumors. Far from it, perhaps.
Well, why not, Grumpy? Why are those two not your favorite?
Because they weren't. That's not my favorite movie. Godfather 3 is not my favorite movie. And Caddyshack 2 isn't even on my radar. Jackie Mason was nowhere near as funny as Rodney Dangerfield. Sorry.
Drew L. Grumpy.
I think the video was called like Be Cool About Fire Safety or something like that. I remember there were a lot of videos about fire safety when I was in elementary school. Well, that's probably true. They want children to be aware of fire.
Patrice O'Neill was hilarious. I agree, Adam. I love him. Guys, do you remember Marc-Andre Bergeron? Who was worse, him or the last year of Chara/Green? Bergeron was pretty freaking bad.
I don't know. Chara and Green,
pretty freaking
Chara
bad.
and Green were really bad their last years.
Yeah, tough to tell. Jack Hughes' brother signed an entry-level deal for the Devils. Yeah, Luke Hughes, I believe it is.
Yep.
Freedom, fun, and adventure, Grumpy.
Anyone else find it hysterical how these writers and media companies complain about needing to pay for the blue check mark on Twitter while simultaneously begging you to subscribe to their service? Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's freaking ridiculous.
You know what they could do? They could just produce free content for everyone to enjoy and let the free market determine whether they should get paid or not.
Here, now I'm not on Twitter, but when I hear guys like LeBron James and some other basketball player or Patrick Mahomes saying they're not paying $8 a month, that would be like me paying a penny a month to be on that, maybe less than that.
No. So those people get gold check marks, Grumpy. Gold check marks are like the top tier organizations. They just allow people, if you want to buy a blue check mark, now you can buy it to where it's like, whoo, because it's still got the rep of the blue check mark. But the gold check mark is like the special ones. Those are the really special ones get gold check marks. I couldn't tell you what the hell differentiates it, but I know
they don't want to pay the $8 a month. These guys make what? Mahomes makes what? $50 million a year?
Not including endorsements, not including anything like that, player bonuses.
I mean, how much is that for a normal person? Like a penny? A penny a year?
$8.
I mean, and it's $8 a month or whatever. Who cares? Then don't do it. I don't care that you're complaining about it. You know what? It makes you look like an asshole.
Well, that's Grumpy.
As bad as management treats some AHLers, let's be realistic. Marlies released Hosang. Bellows had done nothing for the Flyers, so maybe Bridgeport should drop some dead weight. A Salo. Okay. They kept those guys until they ran out of options on them. If you didn't want them on your team, you should have moved them earlier. If you didn't think they were going to be part of the solution, you should have moved them when they had value. Lamoriello doesn't do that. He's a failure as general manager. We got all off season talking about him being a clown.
Joseph C. Grumpy.
Torts will get fired right around the time the Flyers get good, when the talented skill guys want nothing to do with them. Did they even have any of those guys?
They do. They've got a few. I think they do. The Flyers are a team that live in perpetual injury trouble. Drew L said Noah Dobson looks like me when I was 6 years old.
Come on, Drew, you never looked that good.
Now it's time to trade Brock Nelson, says Nick D. I agree. His value will never be higher than it is now.
Absolutely.
Brock will make 35 or scores 35 goals again next year.
I don't know. It depends on what type of system they run. Are they going to go back to the trot system? If so, a lot of games are 2-1 games. You're not going to see a whole bunch of, 5-4 games. That's when he scores most of his points.
Brock Nelson this year has a career high in goals and assists.
Oh, yeah.
Or he'll be 4 goals off. He's got 33 goals right now. Did he score? Oh, he's got 34 after today's goal. So, yeah, career high in what? Oh, heard something weird going on your side.
I had a drink.
Okay. He's at a spot where 73. I'm not sure. Did he get any assists tonight, Brock Nelson?
Don't think so.
Islanders headed to the power play. No, just a goal. So he's got himself 34 goals and 39 assists. A pretty well-rounded season. That's the most assists he's ever had in the season.
That's a terrible penalty call, by the way. That's a terrible penalty call.
When you play the shitty teams, you're going to get the power play opportunity.
I don't even know what the penalty was. The guy was so far. I don't know what it
kind of was falling. You can't do that. It does, in my opinion, that's a penalty.
No, it was nothing.
I'm very fair when it comes to that. I will call bullshit. I thought that was a penalty. You're falling down. You can't be sliding your stick in there trying to prevent it.
Okay, I guess I didn't even see him put a stick there. I'm just like,
yeah, he did. I thought that was a penalty. Nick D said, if it's true that Dobson's girlfriend doesn't like hockey, dump her. No, I'm sure she does. Shannon likes to set the table for puck drop. Nick D said Grumpy. Shannon has nice. Oh God,
they're man hands.
Brandon Fry said this Islanders team is so underwhelming.
True.
I agree. They're not fun to watch for just a general spectator, which is why, as I've told you before, when you play the shitty teams, you're going to get the calls. When we go to the postseason, we are the shitty team. So the shitty teams don't get the call in the postseasons. You're going to see Boston gets the calls. Carolina, the teams that they want to push are going to get the calls, and we might get unfair penalties called against us because we're not Boston and Carolina, which is what I'm preparing Islander fans for.
The only thing we have going for us in the playoffs is Ilya Sorokin. And if he is lights out, spectacular, fantastic, we can win some games. Maybe even win a series. But he's got to be like shutout city. That's what it has to be.
City.
Yeah. Seriously, if they're going to beat a Carolina or a Jersey or a Boston in the first round, I'm going to say he has to have probably 2 or 3 shutouts. I just feel that way. You're going to have 2 or 3 shutouts to win a series.
Okay. Moving along there, Grumpy. Drew L.
You know what the famous Hannibal Lecter said? It rubs the lotion on its skin. Otherwise, it gets the hose again.
God.
And that wasn't Hannibal Lecter who said that. That was Ted Levine, who was in the TV show Monk, and he played Buffalo Bill because he liked to skin his humps.
Puerto Critter said, bro, Washington's really going to close this shit out in regulation. Come on, bro. It's still a tie game, giving you guys updates around the league. Washington and Florida are tied 2-2, 5 minutes remaining. The Bruins are up over the Devils, still 2-1, 5 minutes remaining in the second. Islanders are going to clinch their win tonight, up 3-0 on the Philadelphia Flyers. I almost wonder if it's time to put on the Washington game, to be honest with you, to see, what that's going to look like. James F. said, speaking of Easter jelly beans or Easter eggs, discuss.
Easter jelly beans. I'm not a jelly bean guy, but at Easter time, I love them. I like the old stuff, the stuff that probably gives you cancer. It's like grape, lemon, lime, cherry, orange, and the black ones, just throw them away. That's what. None of these fancy.
You're not a fan of licorice, Grumpy?
No, absolutely not. I mean, and here's the thing: they actually taste like what they should taste like. I don't like the jelly bellies. Like, oh, this type thing with popcorn and no, just give me the straight jelly beans. Sorry.
Grumpy, you don't need to be eating any jelly beans these days.
I like jelly beans.
No jelly beans. You better tell the warden not to give you any candy, Grumpy.
I guarantee better be get some of my Easter basket tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to call the warden up after the show. Make sure there's no candy.
She's asleep. You better not be waking her up.
I'll call the old home phone, the rotary. I'll call the rotary phone that we hear so often.
That'll be a catastrophic blunder on your part.
I'll let her know. Easter Bunny, there better be no candy down there, Easter Bunny. Gugu said, should grown-ups still drink Slurpees? Why not? Sure, I like Slurpees.
You don't need Slurpees.
Grump.
You don't need no Slurpees.
Grump. Puerto Curtis says here, the Islanders are more likely to score on a TV timeout than on a power play. The moral of the story is the Islanders power play equals a bathroom break.
Yeah, I disagree.
How was that not was that not a trip by Pellick? I don't know. Maybe the guy just fell over his skates. Yeah, free market. Adam P said LeBron throw up. Rick Roma said TJ. Today I asked Siri why I'm so bad with women. She said, this is Alexa, you moron.
Oh, hello.
Can't remember any of the names, Rick Roma. I love bashing Lou. I'll tune in to all of Grumpy's insights on him, says Adam P.
I'm going to be going off on him all summer. I'm going to tell you right now.
Put up a Curtis, Grumpy.
I literally think Lee is always frowning because of how heavy his chin is, and gravity just sucks it down.
You got that. The permanent frown.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nick T said the multimillionaires complaining about blue check marks is like a nurse. It's like a nurse still going to work while your husband plays hockey for $9 million a year. Oh, he's talking about Johnny Gaudreau.
Makes no sense to me.
Drew, who says here the San Francisco signed to Darren Ruff. Sounds like a rough signing to me.
Well, that's where he had most of his success. It certainly wasn't with the Mets.
And it also looks like Lindy Ruff will have a rough time in the playoffs. Rick Roma, Grumpy.
How excited would you have been to have a first-round pick in this year's draft? Ecstatic. Lou does not care about the future. Just going to keep running it back with this group. That's never good enough. Scary, and that's it. We're just not good enough. That's why it drives me crazy.
Yep, I was excited to answer that question too. I was very excited. This is the deepest draft we've seen it's a generational draft class. No, we don't need a first or a third round pick in this year's draft class.
This is the year you should have dumped all your UFAs and just roll the dice and say, you know what? Let's get ourselves 2 or 3 first round picks, a couple of seconds, and let's do then you could do an on the fly rebuild, if you will.
Retool, sure.
Retool is just rebuild. It's a fancy word that the NHL teams and their minions like to put out there because it's a rebuild. A retool and a rebuild is the same thing. You're gutting your franchise and you're trying to make it better by bringing a whole bunch of new guys. That's called a rebuild. But they realize that doesn't sell. Rebuild says we're giving up. Retool, it's the same damn thing. Don't let them fool you. Don't fall for their corporate bullshit.
NMP said we don't want the Capitals game to go to overtime. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. It's still a tie game, ladies and gentlemen. Pony Curtis said, TJ, play the video I just sent you on Twitter. I have no idea what this is. I hope it does not get us in trouble. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Silly goose.
Well, why don't you look at it while we're just looking at it?
Well, here's the thing, Grumpy. You want me to just turn it on?
Well,
it's like a 30-second or 40-second clip. It's an old clip too. This is from 2010 by Darren Pang's comments on PK Subban. Okay. I can only imagine. I'm assuming this is not going to be good because I saw apology to PK afterwards.
Carolina just scored with a minute to go in the third period. Kachuk.
You mean the Florida Panthers scored with a minute to go?
Yeah. Yes.
Grumpy, damn, Grumpy. I was like, shit. I was like, hold on, what happened? Fuck. Florida Panthers. Scored.
As soon as I put it on, bang.
Grumpy, you bad luck son of a gun.
You told me to put it on.
Turn the TV off altogether, Grumpy. TV off, Grump. Effing TV off, Grumpy. God almighty. Was it a wiki?
I mean, he's on the far wall. I don't even know how it beat him. Maybe there's a deflection.
You watch us find a way to lose. I've always worried about Washington. Please, if we win the Washington game, I feel confident no matter what we make the postseason. No matter what.
I don't know how the hell he scored from there.
Okay, here it is. Darren Pang's comments. Let's see about PK Subban.
As you mentioned, part of the process, it's funny how we are with these athletes. PK Subban comes in with the World Juniors, playing junior hockey in Ontario, and he's full of life. He's full of personality. He's a gregarious sort. And almost the more gregarious he got and the more full of life he got, the more everybody wants to settle him down. I can tell you this right now. There's another example in the league that maybe he should try to duplicate. And that is another young defenseman. Everybody's saying that PK Subban's the best 21-year-old defenseman. Alex Pietrangelo also represented Canada. He's a 20-year-old. He's a first-round pick, and he does everything on the ice, off the ice, the right way. And he endears himself to his teammates because of that. But you almost feel bad for PK because he's got a lot of personality, but it's time to settle things down a little bit and just play hockey and be a pro.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a Freudian slip or anything. I just think he just misspoke. He was so he said that he was trying to get to right, but he said the white way, but he just sounded like he got tongue-tied. I could tell you from speaking, if you don't have the proper and adequate amount of water in your mouth, sometimes your words come out like shit. I've never heard anything bad with that guy before, and it just sounded like a miss.
I think PK Subban was angling for an announcer gig from the time he's 25 years old.
I think he does a great job at that.
And I think he's really good at it. Absolutely.
He's damn good at that job.
Absolutely. But that was the problem he had. They thought that he was more interested in self-promoting as opposed to hockey.
He was doing here's the thing. We do a podcast. You would have never caught me doing a podcast if I was a professional athlete at the same time. I just can tell you how much time our podcast time and effort takes up. I can't believe he's got time. And he was doing podcasts when he was still playing. So do some other players. I'm like, it makes no sense. You save that for after your playing days are over and you're telling us the stories and the fun things that happened that, were like best kept secrets, yeah. So, I mean, he's great at what he does. I like him. He's a better, I'd say, announcer probably than he was maybe ever as a player. And that's saying something. I think that he just started announcing. And some guys, it takes a while. Like, think about how long it took Hickey to stop being like standing like he was down. He's got rigor mortis, but to feel comfortable. PK feels comfortable in front of the camera, just like Bulb is. And that certain guys feel comfortable in front of the camera, certain guys don't.
He's got personality. And those guys are successful. Florida 4-2. That game's over. Just scored an empty netter.
Okay. Thank you. There it is. Florida Panthers. Hey, the Islanders are going to win again today. So do all the teams around us. Oh, man. That Washington game on Monday, that's the game. That's the game to watch out for. That Washington game on Monday. That's the game.
If we're going to stumble, it'll be against Washington.
I don't think we stumble against Montreal, but I could see us stumbling against Washington.
Yeah.
Florida's a hot team. As I mentioned, 6 wins in a row now for Florida.
Okay. They got to beat Toronto. They got to beat Carolina.
Toronto is a team who's locked in. They
still got to beat them. They're better than Washington. Even mail it in, and they're better than Washington.
When does Toronto start to sit players? Jet Alexander is their backup goalie.
Probably better than their starter.
No, he's not better than Samsonov.
Benny and the Jets.
No, they signed University of Toronto goaltender Alexander to an ATO, and will be their backup.
I'm telling you what, though, that's a big, big win for Florida Panthers. They've won actually quite a few games down the stretch like that recently.
I was about to say they beat Toronto just a little while ago. I know you're not worried about them. Oh, Toronto's a tough team. They beat Toronto on the road.
You realize if we win games, it doesn't matter.
Florida guarantees this. Okay, here's the thing. If Florida continues to win games, we're guaranteed to play Boston. You understand that, right? And it's a first-round exit to Boston. So, like, you keep saying, oh, it's your freaking – you talk about how it's to try to get to the Stanley Cup. We've made it abundantly clear. There's no way in hell we beat Boston. If the Devils somehow leapfrog over, let's say they jump over the Carolina, I think we can beat the Devils. We don't beat Carolina, and we don't beat Boston. That simple. And we definitely sure as hell have no chance against Boston. And I mean none. None chance. Florida still wins their games. We get eliminated in 5 games.
Okay. I don't think it matters who we play in the playoffs. We're not beating those teams. The Devils, even though we beat them at the end of the regular season, they have the thing that beats us, which is speed and aggression on the forecheck. Could they shit the bed? They could. They're playing pretty good right now. I think they're fully healthy now, too. They're going to lose today. Jersey has a power play with 15 and a half seconds to go. 2-1 Boston. Who knows what's going to happen? Anything can happen. Probability is Boston wins again.
Hold on. There's still a third period left to go in that Boston game.
Oh, gosh, it's only the second period. Oh, my God.
Yes.
What time did that game start?
It started after hours. It started at 8. So, Alexander,
well, that's a big call.
Yeah, Alexander says, "Hey guys, what's going on? What's up, Alexander? I forgot Brendan Lemieux was on the Flyers this year. Isn't he the most hated player in the league? Or didn't he legit bite Kachuk's hand last year or something like that? Yeah, I do remember something crazy happened. Brendan Lemieux is not liked. The power play is going to be the death of the Islanders. The show Monk is terrible. I like Monk.
I like Monk too.
Yeah, our power play sucks. We're awful. It's tough to win any games in the postseason when you're scoring at like only 10% on a power play. Yeah. Pony Bakerta says Lemieux, D'Angelo, Provorov, Philly has some creepy assholes on that squad.
What's wrong with Provorov?
I don't think Provorov has any issues, but D'Angelo I know has had issues, character issues in the past. Lemieux biting hands, and they've got a miserable coach. I think that's the biggest issue in Philly. Terrible coach, shitty assortment of players. The BK Italian kid said, I benched Sorokin tonight in my fantasy league championship. It's a mistake. It cost me. I'm going to lose $500.
Oh,
no, BK. No.
Why would you not play Sorokin? That's like an automatic start.
Against the Flyers, too. No,
the Flyers are
awful.
Suck.
Yeah, yikes. Good says, hopefully the Islanders never get another power play the rest of the year.
If the Islanders don't get another power play the rest of the year, I guarantee you we're getting swept.
Licorice is awful, says Thomas Morris. Yeah, it's awful. TJ, what's your top 5 Easter candy? I do like Reese's, like Bunny. That's a good one. I don't need the big one. I need the smaller one where it's like in the tin.
It's Reese's. It's Reese's, not Reese's.
Reese's.
It's Reese's.
That's what I want. Reese's, baby. I like those. Peeps are good. Those are top tier. Reese's and Peeps. Those are the 2 top tier candies that there are. Grumpy's already said jelly beans. What else do you like, Grumpy?
I like the little bunny rabbit. That's it.
I have to tell the warden, no bunny rabbit for Grumpy.
Vanilla chocolate too. I like the vanilla.
God. You know what I got? I felt like an old lady. I went Friday after things were dying down. I went to Target Hudson Fasching scores a goal on the rush. Fed from Jean-Gabriel Pageau Islanders up now 4-0. Tell me you wouldn't want Hudson Fasching. Here's the thing. Pierre Engvald whiffs on those jams. Hudson Fasching, the man, the myth, the legend, puts it in. But I went and got Grumpy. I went to Target, and they had some like white chocolate with Fruity Pebbles in that little bunny. It was a disappointment.
I'm sorry, what kind of pebbles?
Fruity Pebbles. You remember Fruity Pebbles is cereal? So it had cereal in it. That's correct.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was a disappointment.
Interesting. Okay.
It was not good. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, they replaced Carter Hart. Carter Hart got pulled.
What's the difference? Who cares? They suck.
Man, oh man. And Provorov did not stop the pass. Yikes. Anyway, continuing along.
Can I just say one thing? Sure. You know what? Hunter Fasching is almost
Hudson Fasching for the 15 billionth time. I know I've always called him Hudson, and that's why it gaslit me when Shay said I called him Hunter Fasching. You always call him Hunter Fasching, not me, Grumpy. You.
He's almost the same player as Pierre Engvall.
Except he'll go into the corners.
Yeah. I mean, you look at how many points he scored and goals he scored. Very, very similar.
And he doesn't play on the top 2 line.
No.
He plays on the 3rd line.
Same guy. They're the same
He plays
guy.
on the 3rd line, which is the best line for the Islanders as of recent.
15 games, 9 points, and the other guy 45 games and 18 points. Virtually the same player.
Yeah. I'd rather have Hudson Fasching over Pierre Engvald. Told you. Oh, Noah Dobson with another assist today. 2 assists. Another assist on that recent goal. He was the guy who hit Jean-Gabriel Pageau on the outlet pass. Wow, look at that. It's almost like if your team had the ability to skate up the ice and to create separation, Noah Dobson would have a shit ton of points. Isn't that crazy?
I keep on saying, imagine what he would be like on
Colorado.
On Edmonton.
Sure.
Or Colorado.
On Edmonton, he'd probably almost have 100 points.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. 50 points here would be almost the equivalent of 80-plus points on Edmonton. Not even a question about that. He's that good of a passer.
Alexander Romanov could only dream of making those passes. He could only dream of it.
Compared to Dobson, blows.
That's why you don't shackle Dobson with the defensive role. That's not his role. When you don't play your role, shit goes bad. Don't ever forget that, TJ.
You're pathetic. You're pathetic. That's
My little brownie says they've denied the rumors, but Grump, would you be happy with the love of your life dating Reese Witherspoon? Who is dating Reese Witherspoon?
Oh, Tom Brady. Tom Brady must be dating Reese Witherspoon. I like that. I know my little brownie.
Why would Tom Brady date Reese Witherspoon?
Or maybe, yeah, because he's the love of your life. Tom Brady is.
Oh, I see. I didn't know who he was talking about.
I was like, at first I thought the warden, but I'm like, no, it had to be Tom Brittle Brady.
Brittle Brady.
He's brittle these days because he's old. Curtis Grumpy, let you read that.
I never understood gambling. If you're going to just piss your money away, why not actually get high and enjoy part of it? Passing away hard-earned money by gambling is such a cuck move. I'm never into the gambling thing either.
I'm not a gambler either. Alexander,
here's the thing: we're not advocating to start doing drugs, Pony Boy. You know better than that. Come on,
Grumpy. Next comment.
Grump, did you used to do Easter egg hunts around your house? No, we never did any of that when I was a kid. When we were kids, we did that. When the boys were younger, we absolutely did that. But we used to color eggs also. That was something we used to do. And even back, when I was a kid, we used to color Easter eggs.
Curtis says, at least light your money on fire and burn it for warmth. You'd get more out of it that way. Oh, gosh.
True.
Look, Ponyberg Curtis says, Drew sucks. Oh, man. TJ, is my college assignment trying to tell me something? It's saying I need to find the beta. Find the beta. There it is. Look no further. You've got Grumpy right in front of you. Oh! Or you can wait till tomorrow when Sun X is on. There you go. That would work too. Ponyberg Curtis said, do you guys think the goalies should be able to play outside the trapezoid?
No.
No.
Actually, they did it for a reason, because goaltenders were getting so good at handling the puck that it was stifling offense.
Adam P says, Anders Lee looks like Beaker from the Muppets.
He does look like Beaker from the Muppets.
A little bit.
Why don't you put up Beaker? We put a little picture up of Beaker.
Sure. I mean,
I'll read the comment.
Things up. There's 2 hours and 30 minutes in, Grump. We're wrapping things up, but sure, we can pull a Beaker.
Drew says the place where they serve hot dog pizza, Little Frickin' Caesars. Okay. Ponyboy Curtis says, bro, these commercials featuring fans doing weird shit. It's like making paintings and naming their kids after sports teams has to stop.
Yikes.
True. Then we have comments of Florida going up 2-2.
3-2. Jesus Christ. Are you okay, Grumpy? You have an aneurysm or something?
Then we have Adam saying about the white way. I think he just messed that up a little bit. I don't know what any of these other things were. They don't come back to me.
Grumpy, why don't you just keep reading the comments then? you try to read them on
Adam P says their songs suck. The moron with the clown pants, scruffy beard, and pins on his hat irritate me. I don't know. It sounds like we were getting into some side conversation, so don't know anything about that.
Jesus Christ, you're terrible at that. Okay, Scott, I guess I'll handle everything all at once. Scott H. Grumpy, I'll cue him up. You can't do everything.
Well, why don't you just cue him up? That's all you got to do. Scott Harris says, what's up, guys? Islanders, Caps, Easter, good times and memories. Very true, Scott. And I hate to tell you something else, Scott. It's going to be good memory tomorrow when I beat your team in fantasy baseball.
There it is, Scott. James F. Grumpy.
James Farrell says, Laviolette, get fired.
There it is. Read the next one, Grumpy. That's also applicable.
Yep. Scott Harris says, a good battle in fantasy, Grumpy old man. Hopefully I make up some ground tonight. I hope not. I hope you don't.
Win out the best way and to get in.
Absolutely.
Mark my words. We will beat Boston, says Alexander. Okay. Niles, the mascot, is at the Islanders game. Yeah, that silly bastard. What mascot do you guys like better, Sparky or the bearded dude?
Neither. Is neither an option?
Neither, but I guess maybe Sparky. I don't know. I just want them to make the postseason there. The Islanders will beat Boston, says Rob G. No, I'm sorry. We won't. They're advertising a Nickelback concert at UBS Arena is what they're doing. And the soft Islander fans don't like Provorov because he didn't wear a Skittles warm-up jersey. Well, I didn't know he had a Skittles warm-up jersey. James F said it's 3-0 and Philly are on the power play. Yep. They don't take goalie out. This is why Torts has to go. Yeah, Tortorella is just yikes. Anyway,
maybe they're figuring the drawing to get Connor Bedard.
hold on.
Right? At this point, when your team's that bad, should you even be trying to win or trying to get more options at the lottery, right?
Oh my God. Look at this. Spike Pony by Credit says, I'm gonna get tattoo on my bone. That says no skinny chicks allowed. Good gracious. Okay, hold on a second.
Hey, look, that looks like Beaker.
Hold on a second, Grumpy. Here's Beaker. Beaker.
There you go. They look very similar. Even the hair. Look at it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of maybe there. Cameron with the Cam said, good evening. Amazing win against Tampa, 6-1. We got our revenge.
No.
Really? James F said, yes, sir, Capitals. We better win on Monday. I'm worried about the Capitals. Will Varlamov ever play another game with the Islanders?
Yes, because they're going to re-sign him and he'll be back with the team next year. I'm sure of that.
Yep. But hey, we just couldn't afford to trade him at the deadline for a first-round pick. Nobody wants first-round picks, I guess. Is Alain Vigneault still coaching anywhere? He's going to be more equipped than College Quinn, no? Well, that's the thing. It's a funny thing about that. Like, College Quinn blows. Like, when people are always like, oh, I can't believe how this – it happens in all sports, in all situations. College Quinn blows as a coach. To think that – I don't think Alain Vigneault is coaching right now. But to think that College Quinn is coaching is just hard to believe. Goon Grumpy.
Did the Islanders win the last two, or there's still enough time to turn to doo-doo? I think we win the last two.
Oof.
If you're going to ask me who I put my money on, I put my money on the Islanders.
I think we lose to Washington, and I think we beat Montreal. And we're going to be sitting at the last day watching the Pittsburgh Penguins like this. I hope Pittsburgh loses, and we're all going to be so excited because Pittsburgh's going to go down 2-0, but they're going to score 3 unanswered goals in the third period, and we're going to lose. And it's just going to – or maybe they'll go to overtime and go to shootout, and we're going to be sitting on our freaking hands waiting to see how a shootout result is. I'm just imagining the worst-case scenario, so at least they can't be disappointed.
Or maybe Florida loses to Toronto and Carolina.
Yeah, 6-game winning streak, I don't think so. James F., 6 shutout. Ilya Sorokin with the shutout. Gungun said, even if the Sabres win the last 4, the Islanders win the last 2, they make the cut. Yes, it is. Yep, we just have to win our games, win the rest of our games, and we get in. That's simple. Don't win it, we're in trouble. Rick Rock says, so Roken does it again. The Islanders, TCB. Happy Easter, guys.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Elon Avatal says, was thinking 2 years, $800K would work for Hudson Fashing. Now it might be 3 years, 1.5 million AAV. Could somebody wake Lou up and tell him to put the pen to paper? If he gets 2 million AAV, I pass.
Okay. Just, here's the thing. You don't need to sign Engvall back. You don't need to sign Fashing back. Would you like to have him back? Yeah, they'd have to be real cheap. You can get another guy on vet minimum next year. There are 100 of them out there.
Drew L says, alrighty, well, good night. I'm decently drunk, off some wine, so I'm going to bed. You're working on a paper and drinking, Drew. That's some productive right there. Drink paper writing, baby. You'll be interested when you wake up and do some proofreading.
Drunk writing.
Ryan P said, this team isn't even close to Boston, but no other team wants to deal with Sorokin in a 7-game series.
I think that's very accurate.
Dobson haters, take it deep. That's
there
right. Deep. 3rd star, Dobson. 2nd star, Horvat. 2nd star, Horvat. What the fuck? Bo Horvat, the 2nd star of the game?
Played a solid all-around game.
Yeah, I'm not going to get me to believe that. And 1st star, Sorokin. Ryan P said, I'm fine with bringing back Varlamov at true backup money.
How much you think you should pay him, TJ?
I think they shouldn't pay him more than $2.5-3 million a year. They're going to give him probably 4.
What? You're going to pay him the same amount of money you're paying Sorokin?
Yes. I think they're going to pay him like 4, maybe 3.5, 4. I think they're going to overpay him. When has this guy ever not overpaid anybody? Pelican Lambrello has not overpaid anybody besides Pelican Pulak.
Here's my offer. 2 years, $2 million per. That's it. That's the offer. Take it or freaking leave it. You need to sign Sorokin this offseason. How much money is he going to command? 9? 8.5? Are they going to break their salary scale thing to sign Sorokin? Or are they going to let him walk?
Well, they're going to break it when they sign Dobson. That's when they're going to break it, when they give him the $10 million contract. Cameron with the Cam said, give Lane Lambert credit where credit is due. He's doing pretty well his first year as a coach. Let's just hope he moves us in the right direction. I agree. He's done a good job. People shit on him. I think he's done a good job for first-year head coach, inheriting a team where the last coach finished with 80-something points in the season. Hall of Fame coach Barry Trotz. So, anyway. I don't like how Florida's in 7th and we're in 8th. Yeah, I was about to say, TJ, flying through the comments. I know we're 2 hours and 30 minutes in, wrapping up. And I remember when TJ used to say, moving right along.
Moving right along.
Jason Cameron says, first star, Grumpy.
Thank you, Jason.
Dale S says, Anders Lee does look like Beaker. Okay, we have it. New look-alike for average Anders. Beaker from the Muppets. Ryan P says 2x2 is a max for Varlamov. Sounds good because Sorokin's contract is going to be large.
Absolutely. You should have a set dollar amount set apart for each position group is what you should do.
Rick Roma said Lou should give Varlamov a 4-year by 4 years, $5 million a year, just so we get a legendary podcast from you guys. Yeah. If Lou Lamoriello were to do that, Grumpy might die on air due to a heart attack.
That would be an ugly podcast.
There would be people that would explain. They would try to. I almost try to, like, people use mansplaining. It's almost like they try to Lamoriello explain you as to why everything he does is correct. They could give Varlamov 5 years by $5 million. They would still say this is the greatest thing that Lamoriello's ever done. This is why he's a legendary general manager. You just don't know how great he is.
It would be a catastrophic blunder. Catastrophic.
Nick D. Grumpy.
I just want to say happy Easter, Buona Pasqua, love and laughter to Grumpy, TJ, and the rest of the Grumpy's groupies.
Thank you, Nick D. Happy Easter, everyone. Pony Bear Curtis says, bro, honestly, Brendan Burke is mad talented. He is.
Great. He's a great announcer.
And unfortunately, we'll lose him soon.
Yeah, he'll go to the Yankees, and I don't blame him.
Good for him. He deserves it.
He does.
Grumpy, we are here at the end of the show today. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, as well as happy Easter from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. The live. See, that's how easy it is to mess up your words. The live watch along between the Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers. Islanders take away the 2 points that are needed at this point in time in the season, but unfortunately, so do the Penguins and so do the Florida Panthers. Big game this Monday against the Washington Capitals, a big game. Islanders cannot afford to lose or sacrifice any points in that matchup. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We're all going to be glued to the television sets on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I promise you that much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching. Hope you guys have a happy Easter. Thank you for all the comments, the engagement. We'll see you guys this next Wednesday. We'll probably know what the outcome of the season is at that point or have a good feeling. And thank you so much as always, Grumpy.
My pleasure. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the like button. Don't forget TJ and the Grumpy Old Man tomorrow night at 8.
That's right. Hit the thumbs up. Apparently, it helps the algorithm. Boop. It lets us know you like the content. Subscribe on YouTube. Like on Facebook. Follow on Twitter. Check out TJ and the Grumpy Old Man tomorrow night, 8 p.m. It's an all sports podcast. We talk anything and everything sports. NFL, NHL, MLB, NBA, college athletics, world football, anything and everything sports on that show. You could find it in the link in the description below or as a featured page on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you've got a great evening ahead and a great Easter tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, Grumpy.